story with some diamond advice. Buying an engagement ring doesn't have to be so complicated. We've been doing this since 1948, and we know what women want, a combination of size and quality. And a little hint here, size wins big. We guarantee you can be in and out in under an hour, and she'll love the ring or your money back. It's that easy. Come see why we're voted the best place to buy a diamond. And remember, every woman wants a Bailey box.
Direct Auto Insurance is for uncompromisers, like people who want a low down payment on state minimum coverage. Take Bailey. When her old car insurance got too expensive, do you think she started using a tandem bike for school drop-offs? No, she found Direct Auto and started saving. And you can too. Get a free quote at directauto.com or find a store near you. Direct Auto. Stop compromising. Keep driving. Terms apply. National General Group, Winston-Salem.
This hour on the Triangle Sports Leader is brought to you by the Ritchie Law Firm Injury Lawyers. You can feel the madness! Go to GotBryan.com. That's GotBryan.com.
WCMC-FM HD1 Holly Springs.
This is the Adam Gold Show.
5-point lead with 7 seconds left. Here's Proctor. Gets it in the corner to Power. He fires for 3. No good. Proctor on the follow. Back up. Can't get it to go. There's the horn. It's all over. And the Pack upsets 11th ranked Duke 74-69 here in the ACC quarterfinals. The streak continues for the Pack.
Three in a row. That, according to Lou Brown, is a winning streak.
It is a winning streak.
Congratulations to the Wolfpack for, doing something I didn't think they would do.
Doing the unthinkable.
But what did we say yesterday? I think you asked, what does Duke have to do? Duke has to defend, right? I don't think that the Blue Devils, certainly not on the perimeter, did a lot of that, or really anywhere, did a lot of that defending thing.
No, not so much.
But let's not look at it from that perspective. Let's look at it from this perspective. NC State was really good.
They were.
Really good. And they deserve to be exactly where they are in the ACC tournament semifinal on a Friday night for the first time in 9 years.
Wow.
2014 was the last time they reached a semifinal. If I'm not mistaken, that was the Mark Gottfried era.
Ooh.
Yeah. And ACC tournament success was, to an extent, they didn't win any ACC tournaments, but being a pain in the derriere was a staple of NC State during those times.
They're here to ruin brackets.
It's about time. Good for them. No, they absolutely deserved it. I've been meaning to kind of give DJ Burns some credit for the most recent run of good play, because I think he has been a better offensive player over the last few weeks. We all know what he is defensively. It's really not, there's nothing good about it. But he can be so effective inside offensively, and he's such a good passer, and he's a smart player, that all of that can contribute to being really good offensively. And then you get contributions from Michael O'Connell and DJ Horn off the bench. They didn't even need anything from Jaden Taylor yesterday. Got very little, although he did make 2 of 3 threes. Casey Morcell, and Mo Diarra was just that guy. We've always, for those people who've been listening to me talk about it, I like that player a lot. Mm-hmm. And when I was supremely down on DJ Burns, I'm like, just let Middlebrooks and Diarra deal with it.
Sure.
You don't even need DJ. Obviously they do. He's played very well. And the Wolfpack are playing again. And they're on the right side of this bracket.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's going to be easy to beat Virginia because, again, they hate fun, and therefore it's going to be difficult to play. But it's a winnable game for the Wolfpack, which maybe is the worst possible thing, because they're not exactly looking at them as the opponent as, well, nobody's giving us a chance. Oh, I think people are giving them a chance, and again, not to play into those stereotypes, but State fans will tell you this is the last place they want to be with carrying around expectations.
Yeah.
But a really good performance last night. In fact, it was good for a certain building. So on a Friday.
Friday.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even introduce. I'm Adam. That's Victoria.
Oh, yeah, that part.
Hold on. Before we start, before we get everything going here, I owe you an apology.
Me?
Yes. I was in the middle of, I don't even remember what I was doing last night. So, first of all, I get to PNC Arena last night. It's 80 degrees outside, just about.
Yeah, I know.
And in the inside, there's a thermostat. Why why we need to know the temperature outside when we're inside, I don't know.
Is the rink gonna melt?
I don't know. A couple of years ago in the playoffs, Mike Brown, who was one of the best in the business PR for the Hurricanes, was announcing game time temperature at the start, because they will do this at outdoor venues, right?
I see.
Game time. So he was doing it, and it's the same.
Yeah.
It was 61 degrees inside the arena. So, but it felt like it was 41 inside the arena. I come from outside to inside. I am freezing my
rear end off.
lapels off. I don't know. I was so cold. But anyway, during the game, I was supremely focused on what was going on the ice.
Mm-hmm.
I think you came into the booth to say hello.
Right.
And I mean, I knew you were there. I think we talked. And then all of a sudden you were gone. I'm like, why did Victoria leave? Obviously, I must have just been like completely zoned out.
You were in the zone. I think that's when the Canes had scored their second goal.
That was the Natchez goal.
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
And you were you put it out there so he would hear you, because you were saying, I wish Natchez would turn it on, get it together. And then boom, he scored a goal.
It happened at the end of a terrible Martin Natchez shift. Yeah. Like the shift that people go, oh, that Natchez is back. And then he scored.
Yeah.
You're like, all right, well, whatever. You made up for it. But yes, and then I turned around and you were gone.
Yeah.
So I apologize.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I went to go get some water and more popcorn. So
is there any popcorn left?
There was.
Okay, good.
There was. It was fresh too. That's what it's key. Yeah. Well, fresh for up there.
All right. Yeah. Put the caveat on it. We're all good. Okay. So I apologize for that.
No, it's okay. I had to make sure you knew I was there, even though you knew I was there.
I knew you were coming, but you also said you were going to be late. So
yeah. Yes.
But you got there just in the nick of time.
Exactly.
Let's play. All right. I didn't want to ignore you. So.
Oh, yeah, no, it's fine. We were multitasking at its finest, because you had your computer with the basketball games up. I had my phone with the basketball games
But
up.
here's the thing. I could barely concentrate on the basketball game because I was watching the hockey game.
Yeah.
So, I mean, basically what I was doing mostly was monitoring scores.
Right.
And even then, I thought the arena Wi-Fi last night was a little wonky.
Spotty.
So, and maybe it was because everybody was also
doing
monitoring
the
the score. A huge roar inside PNC Arena, by the way, when they flashed up the state scores, because they were winning all night.
They were.
So let's start with it. And a great night for PNC Arena. We'll deal with the tenant that was visiting friends first.
Mm-hmm.
State 74-69 over Duke, 5 in double figures. DJ Horn, 18 off the bench. Mo Diarra was amazing. 14, 16 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals, 4 blocks. What a game. They were super efficient as a team from three-point range. They were 7 of 16 overall. Diarra, who can hit threes, 1 of 4. I mean, you have to honor that with Mo Diarra. Here's Kevin Keats on a 3-game winning streak.
We played all the ranked teams and everything else. So when we looked at our schedule, we knew that our back end was really tough. Obviously, I don't know if any program in the history of basketball has played Carolina and Duke on a Saturday and turn around and play them on Monday. Thanks to the ACC, I got no problem with that now. That being said, we just had to refocus and understand that everything that we had done before that, we're a good basketball team. We just had some challenges going down the stretch, and during that time, a lot of things going on. When we just, we said when we got to the tournament, we can play and we can beat anybody in this league. The unfortunate thing about it is that everybody else can do the same thing. So I think we're locked in.
Yeah, look, I don't know that they didn't reinvent the schedule wheel by playing Carolina and Duke in a 48-hour span, but that was difficult. One of those games was at home, and they competed for a half against Carolina and for 30 minutes against Duke. They were right there. And then it as happens when a team isn't as good as their opposition, the better team eventually imposes their will. That's what happened in those two games. But State proved for a stretch of the game that they could compete. And let's be honest, we've seen NC State play good basketball this year.
Yeah.
They should have been, like, if we think about where we were 6 weeks ago with NC State, there was no reason that they shouldn't have been in the exact same discussion as Wake and Pitt, right?
They should.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Wake and Pitt. Like, we're talking about Wake and Pitt being NCAA tournament good. I don't know if they're going to get in, and I'll be completely honest, I think there's a better chance that both miss than even one makes. I kid you not. I think this is probably a 55% chance that if Pitt doesn't beat North Carolina tonight, and that is the first semifinal, then neither Wake or Pitt is going to go, neither nor.
That would be like a plus 105 in betting, probably.
Absolutely.
Just a little bit.
Right? So that's the way I look at it. But there's no reason why State couldn't have been part of that same discussion. And then they stopped defending. They became all about DJ Horn, which is not, I'm not blaming DJ Horn when you're the only person continuously scoring and DJ Burns is horrible defensively. All of these things are bound to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But somewhere along the line, there was a reset. Granted, you had to play Louisville, or you got to play Louisville on the first night, Tuesday.
Yeah.
And then you move that in and you throttle Syracuse with some extra motivation because their ex-head coach said something silly on television. And if you use that as fuel, great. And then you saw the team that you basically were better than for about 20 minutes, played toe-to-toe with for 30 minutes on your floor, and then you went away late. You saw them again, and you were just flat better from start to finish. We're going to, a little bit later on, I don't want to do it now because I want to get to a couple of other things. A little bit later on, we're going to hear from DJ Burns, who I thought was very real after the game.
Yes.
So we'll do that in a minute. Remember when Duke lost to Carolina?
Yes.
And John Shire was talking about, the good thing is that all of the things that we were deficient in, we can control.
Mm-hmm.
My response to that was, to an extent, yes, but not against Carolina because they're simply better at all the things you want to do. They're better than you at them. It's going to be very difficult. You're going to need some help from Carolina. Well, what about against NC State? Turns out Duke didn't control the controllables.
Disappointing loss for us. We wanted to make a run at this thing. And coming off of Saturday, we've been able to spend a lot of time on ourselves for the first time. And, that didn't translate fully, clearly. NC State is playing the best basketball they've played probably. And you give them credit. They're talented. When you're playing in the postseason, teams don't want to go away. You have to make them go away. And overall, I can go through the details of the game. I think for us, though, it's about the competitive fire you need to have in the postseason.
Yeah. That was the theme. Kyle Filipowski and Mark Mitchell, I thought, played a very good. They played basketball the way Duke needs them to play basketball.
Yeah, they did the best they could.
And Duke did not get that from their three other starting players. And again, this is something else we're going to play coming up right after the top of the hour at 1 o'clock. Jeremy Roach in the locker room after the game basically saying, well, yeah, this just the ACC tournament. It ain't a big deal.
Right, we're here for the NCAA. I'm
just not sure, and I'm not trying to throw shade on John Shire. There's no way you can have that mindset. Zero chance you could have that mindset and be successful.
Yeah.
You can't throw away games.
No.
Now, I will say that to me, that just sounds like self-medicating after the game.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think Duke went into the game with the mindset of this doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's like asking a girl out on a date and she doesn't accept, and you're like, I didn't like you anyway. You're ugly. Like, it's the same thing.
It kind of is.
Yeah.
And that's why I never ask girls out.
There you go. Other than Aileen not really approving that, but you know.
Well, never mind. We're I'm not going to relate any stories about anything. Anyway, the truth of the matter is that the Blue Devils, they've only got one more crack at anything. That's it. And you have to change that mindset. Jeremy Roach said there was going to be a players-only meeting. This would be their second players-only meeting. I will say that players-only meetings are temporary.
Mm-hmm.
Just, they're Band-Aids. They don't solve any of the problem. Unless there's a good fist fight, in which case, yes, all the problems are solved with that. By the way, for State, next up is Virginia. For Duke, we don't know yet. Virginia gutted it out against Boston College. Hey, BC, can you just... I was this close to the 3-team parlay.
I know.
I
know.
It's fine. It wouldn't have been, it was only units anyway. All right, Carolina ripped apart FSU, the first game of the day, yesterday in D.C., 92-67. And to me, I didn't think North Carolina would value this tournament. Why I thought that, I don't know. I just didn't think they would. But, boy, they valued yesterday.
Yeah.
And this is, again, the DNA of this particular group. All starts on the defensive end. And, honestly, everything triggers off of that. And there was a time where Elliot Cadeau was a liability defensively. And according to Hubert Davis, that is no longer the case.
Yeah, it's a big transition coming from high school and playing at this level. In high school, you may play defense when your guy gets the ball, and here it's just not going to work. The guys are just too talented. And so, one of the things that we talk about all the time is at this level, you have to play defense before you play defense. And so Elliot is at every day is understanding how important and how good of a defensive player he can be. And that leads to him diving on loose balls and getting extra possessions, climbing into the ball, boxing out, talking on defense. And so you just continue to see that growth in him, and it's been fun to watch.
He's been great, but he's mostly been great this year with the ball in his hands. Carolina's just got a lot of things going on for them.
Oh, yeah.
They will take on Pitt now in the first semifinal tonight. Pitt basically ran away from Wake Forest in the second half.
They did.
I know Steve Forbes after the game said, and I didn't hear anything from Jeff Capel, but Steve Forbes after the game said, two teams that should both be in the NCAA tournament doesn't really matter. I agree with Steve Forbes. I think they're both good enough to be in the NCAA tournament, but you had to, for Wake, you really had to win the game.
Yeah.
And I'd say the same thing for Pitt. And again, I still think there's a chance that neither get in. I would love to see both in the field because I think both would be dangerous. Real quick, speaking of Pitt, before we continue on with some other things, former Pitt star Aaron Donald is retiring from the NFL.
Wow.
3 years ago, he was the greatest defensive player we've ever seen.
Yeah.
Well, Lawrence Taylor is the greatest defensive player I've ever seen. But Aaron Donald is one of the absolute best to ever do it. And he has announced his retirement. We'll get to more of that in a little bit because I have some football things that I want to bring up, but I'm not going to do that just yet. All right. To the PNC Arena resident who was at home last night. And as a bit of quick preview, Sarah Sivian, Bleacher Report, is going to join us in about 6 minutes. So I'm excited to talk to Sarah because she was tweeting about the game last night. I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Sarah's checking us out again, and that's really cool. I know a lot of people were nervous going into the game because, let's be honest, the Rangers beat Carolina Tuesday night, and they were better than Carolina Tuesday night. Even though Carolina could have won the game, the Rangers were the better team and deserved a 1-0 win. And the Rangers are not as good as the Panthers.
No.
They're just not. And given the fact that the Panthers were here 3 weeks ago and skated out of the building with a 1-0 loss with arguably their best, maybe not best player, Sasha Barkov's their best player, but Matthew Tkachuk, who didn't finish the game, he was knocked out of the game because of an Andrei Svechnikov hit. And these two teams are developing animosity towards one another.
Big time.
If actually shouldn't even say developing, they have it. I thought last night was going to be a supreme test. And for the first 15 minutes, it appeared bumpy. I thought Florida was the better team by a significant amount for 15 minutes. Carolina got a power play. The power play was trash. And then the shift right after the power play, which is called the bump-up shift, Jordan Stahl, Jordan Martinook, and Seth Jarvis. Actually, it might have been Jesper Fast on that shift because Jarvis was part of the power play. But all of a sudden, that line flipped the game. They didn't score on that particular possession, but they flipped the game because the last 5 minutes of the period was played on Carolina's terms, and then inside of a minute left, Stahl, I'm not going to say passed the puck to Jarvis because that would be a lie, but he had the puck.
And it got to Jarvis.
And under duress, the puck somehow ended up in front of Seth Jarvis, who shot it over the glove of Sergei Bobrovsky.
Beautiful.
Great shot, super shot. High level of talent and difficulty to get the shot off. 1-0 Carolina. There was less than a minute left in the period. And from that point on,
it was over.
The Hurricanes utterly controlled the entire game. Shift after shift after shift. 2.5 minutes into the second period, that was when you apparently were in the booth, and I didn't realize that. Natchez scored. 6 minutes later, Evgeny Kuznetsov scored his first Hurricanes goal. He did. 3-1, and here's Kuznetsov on the goal.
Right, 3 games for me, so obviously it was very important to not only get the goal and assist, to get the gains and let you go.
I really can't hear him.
You know, the first period there was not a lot there, and second and third
we need to get closer. We need to get a microphone closer to Kuznetsov. Let's work on.
Well, what we can do is learn his little dance. I'm glad we got to see that
bird. Yeah,
yesterday. The bird. That's why they call him the Birdman.
That was the Storm Surge. After the game. They all did the bird
awesome.
for Kuznetsov. But yeah, there was still, it was 3-0, and we're still half the game left to play because the Kuznetsov goal that made it 3-0 was like at 8:30 something of the second period. But Carolina was so good defensively. Florida got almost nothing the rest of the way. There were a couple of chances because there's always going to be chances. Yeah. Florida's that good. But it was first shutout of the season for Frederik Andersen, 21 saves, but the bulk of his work was done in the first period. Here's the head coach on his goaltender.
He's been good. I think he's 3 starts now and been pretty solid. And obviously we talk about that at length. I mean, that's the most important position, and if we can get that kind of goaltending or even close to it, it's a good sign for us.
Freddie was, again, really good in the first period. I think Florida's last shot on goal in the first came with about 5 minutes left. Freddie had to kill out. The first power play went the way of Florida, and Freddie had to make 2 very good saves on that. One on Carter Verhaeghe right out in the dead slot, and the other on Alexander Barkov from a tough angle, but Freddie had to get over. I thought he was really good in the first period. And then from there, I thought Florida's really good scoring chances were few and far between.
Oh, yeah. You could tell the frustration on the ice because they couldn't get anything done.
Yeah. And it was, by the way, one of those games. Don't talk to me about it felt like a playoff game because it never does. No. It never does.
No.
But like I've talked to Jordan Stahl about this. We should have some reference point that is between a regular season game and a playoff game.
Like a meter.
Right? Yeah, exactly. We should use the Scoville scale. And this was, I will say it was a little habanero-ish.
Okay, yeah.
It was not a Carolina Reaper.
No.
It was not a ghost pepper.
It's more than a jalapeno.
Yeah, it was kind of jalapenos are mild.
I know, they're
It's just
weak.
kind of mild.
They're weak sauce.
But it was like a habanero. And it was good. I liked that. I enjoyed the game, and I enjoyed the fact that Carolina was, after the whistles, giving as much as they were taking.
Yeah.
Because that's what you've got to do with a team like Florida.
Oh, yes.
You can't let them, face wash you and do stuff after. You can't let them do it without you doing it to them. So you have to trust the fact that the officiating is going to be even both ways, and I thought for the most part it was.
Yeah.
So I got no problem with it. I still don't understand what Sebastian Aho did on the first penalty, but whatever.
Oh, I know. I could read lips when he was talking with the ref.
What'd I do?
I don't know what Finns sound like when they're mad, but
Well, Aho curses in English.
I know.
He does.
But with his accent, I'm just so curious now what that sounds like.
No, it's my
but
favorite thing.
Chatfield, Nason, they weren't having none of it last
Nothing.
night. I loved it.
Steph Nason was, I'm in it.
Oh, yeah.
I am in it for this.
They were like,
So-
come at me, bro, big time.
So much fun last night at PNC Arena. And it's a good win for Carolina. They have still not lost consecutive games in regulation since before the Ottawa game. They lost 4 in a row on that Western Canada swing. They have not lost. That was like the first 10 days of December. They have not lost consecutive regulation games since then.
A good game to watch, too, will be the 23rd. Panthers and Rangers. Those two together.
Yeah, I hope they beat each other.
I know. Go into triple overtime. Just make it triple overtime, just cuz.
Toronto on Saturday, Ottawa Sunday, Islanders on Tuesday. That's what's next for Carolina. And I can't wait to do the Canes Corner podcast after all of them. Available wherever you get your podcasts.
Yeah.
You can also join us live on YouTube after every Hurricanes game. When we come back, somebody who has been on the Canes Corner podcast multiple times, Sarah Sivian. She will join us. Bleacher Report, she's everywhere. Literally everywhere. Too Many Men, the podcast as well. She will join us next.
Raleigh to Boone, Charlotte to Chapel Hill. Your Carolina is covered. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Bring on the madness.
O'Connell with the rebound, long down the floor to the yard to the trailing Morcell, jams it. Casey Morcell with a two-hand jam.
It's ACC Championship Week.
Proctor on the follow, back up, can't get it to go. There's the horn, it's all over. And the Pack upsets 11th ranked Duke 74-69 here in the ACC quarterfinals.
The ACC basketball tournament on 99.9 The Fan is brought to you by Wake Med, Roofworks, and Wilkinson Chevrolet Cadillac Buick GMC in Sanford.
North Carolina, your wait is over. FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, is officially live here in the Old North State. And right now, new customers can get $250 in bonus bets guaranteed when you wager your first $5. Just go to FanDuel.com, promo code AdamGold to sign up. Then you can bet on everything from the money line, over-unders, which team will cut the nets down, all on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Take the court with $250 in bonus bets, win or lose, when you place your first $5 wager. Visit FanDuel.com, promo code AdamGold to get started. FanDuel is America's #1 sports book. You must be 21 or older and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only, $10 deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
Imagine pulling up to PNC Arena on your very own Hurricanes Harley-Davidson motorcycle. That dream can become a reality. The Law Tigers, Tobacco Road Harley-Davidson, Shiny Side Paint, and your Carolina Hurricanes are teaming up to give the Ultimate Caniac a custom Hurricanes 2023 Harley-Davidson Softail. The bike will be given away live on the ice at the game on April 5th, and you might just win it. Go to caniacsbike.com. That's caniacsbike.com for your chance to win this custom-painted beauty of a bike. Do it now. Enter today.
The Dugout Tavern and Grill is the #1 sports bar in Apex and your March Hoops headquarters. Every game day, the Dugout has beverage reps on site handing out merch and giveaways. They've got a 16-foot video wall and over 30 other big-screen 4K TVs inside and out with state-of-the-art sound always on. The Dugout's got game day deals, too. $5 Stella Artois, $9 Kona Big Kahunas, and BOGO half-off jumbo wings. Catch all the Hoops action at the Dugout, 1413 Kelly Road, Apex, and thedugouttavern.com.
March, as we all know, is a critical time to check your home's windows. I'm Tim Donnelly, and if yours are cracked or leaking or won't stay open or won't open at all, then it's time to call the pros at Window Nation. Right now, for every 2 windows you buy, you'll get 2 windows free, plus 0 down, 0 interest, and no payments for 24 months. With proven quality and service, it's no wonder thousands have trusted Window Nation. Don't miss out. Call 866-90NATION or visit windownation.com to schedule your free in-home estimate.
This is Adam Gold.
That was a big deal to me this morning. I'm sorry if the heathens that we had on for the roundtable, Jeremy and Travis,
My people,
didn't even understand Jurgen Klopp.
It does sound different. Feels like a clogging thing. Like I should be river dancing.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold, Victoria, producing the program. I apologized already for ignoring her during the second period Martine Nature's show.
I know. He
Sorry.
showed up right on time.
He did.
You just had to speak it out.
Nature's punctuated what was otherwise a very terrible Martine Nature's shift with a spectacular goal. And the Hurricanes then led 2-0. That became 3-0 on a Yevgeny Kuznetsov goal. And joining us to talk about last night and maybe a little bit more of the future, Sarah Sivian, BR Open Ice, Bleacher Report Open Ice, and Too Many Men, the podcast. She is famous, and I still have her number. Thank you very much, Sarah. How are you?
I'm great. You just can't ever let Nate just have it, right? Some things never change.
Well, it's funny because you know that I have been openly, disdainful is not the right word, but critical of Marty for a long time, to the point where 2 years ago during the playoffs, and you responded to this right away. I don't remember exactly what you said when I said that'll work next year in Arizona, because I always assumed that they were going to trade him, and they did not. And he had a really good year last year for the most part. It didn't end well for him, and the playoffs weren't good. But for the time since coming back from injury at the beginning of January, I guess, Marty's been, arguably one of their best 1 or 2 forwards. He's playing in all 3 zones. He's in the middle of the ice, and he's been physical. Like, this is the Martine Necas that you pay and you keep because he is a game changer. Maybe he's trying to get you to come back.
Right. You were never incorrect in your Arizona assumptions. Like, that was always on the table. It was always will he, won't he? And I think it affects a player like that. But I think maybe a more vote of confidence in him and letting him kind of stew a little bit has helped his confidence a little bit. He's been through it a little, but yeah. I just absolutely love the situation he gets to be in now after kind of all the grinding.
It's funny, when Rod put the Gensel and Kuznetsov with Necas, he put that line together, and all I could think of was Necas got to the rink one day, and no offense to anybody else he's been playing with. It's not like he's been playing with bad players, but he gets to the rink one day, and he goes, wait a second, I'm playing with Kuznetsov and Gensel? All right, let's go. Honestly, Rod wants to move Gensel up with Aho. I know that's going to happen at some point. But for right now, to watch that line the last 2 games, that's been impressive, and it looks to me like Kuznetsov and Necas were born to play with one another.
Absolutely. And the luxury is the options. Like, of course, the lines are going to change, but at this time, it's not just trying to force something to happen. It's like, oh, something's already happening, and then there's even potential for something better happening, especially down the line. We talk about the Carolina Hurricanes scoring woes in the playoffs. It's like when the other team is watching the film and examining, it's like that seems to stop them, especially on the power play. So it's like now they can switch it up even more and be more effective with these elite players.
Yeah, it's amazing. So at the trade deadline, I openly questioned the sanity of so many people when I kept hearing, oh, the Hurricanes are the leaders on Jake Gensel. And I'm like, do you know who you're talking about? The Hurricanes don't do this. And then they went and did this. I did not know who I was talking about. I don't even recognize them anymore.
I know. I was very much team I'll believe it when I see it. But then you have to give credit where the credit is due. Like, they actually did it. And it goes to show, I don't want to pat them on the back too much, right? Because it's like, this is what a team in their situation should be doing.
Right.
But this market at the deadline was so fascinating because it was very much a buyer's market in terms of you didn't have to necessarily surrender a first-round pick, and there was a lot of salary retention with the cap set to raise, but they could finesse leverage out of that type of thing. But at the same time, there weren't many outstanding players, but there was one, and his name is Jake Gensel, and they got him. Like that, the Hurricanes did. They think they're very cerebral when it comes to things like this, and to a fault at sometimes. Sometimes it's like, just do the thing, right? But because they hadn't done the thing in the past, they got to do like the best thing. So I guess the patience is rewarded here.
Sarah Sivian is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. Too Many Men, the podcast. You should check it out. Here's the thing about what they normally do, because I get the sense that sometimes they overthink it and they try to galaxy brain it, and we'll call it market inefficiencies. So which is what they did really with Jesse Puljujarvi. Like, oh man, we're going to turn him into something, and they didn't. He became exactly who he was. I still don't understand why Pittsburgh just gave him a 2-year deal, to be perfectly honest, other than there's no real money involved. But then they do, like they did it with Tony DeAngelo a couple of years ago. They saw a depressed asset and got a lot out of him. And I think they're trying to do the exact same thing with Kuznetsov, who, when he's right, is an elite player. And they just put those two guys, Gensel and Kuznetsov, in the middle of a team that was already good.
I will say the positive thing about the depreciating assets thing is they get them it's a low risk, at the worst, it's a low risk, low reward, right? Like nothing happens, but they're not ever your players that are expected to be your number one center or whatever. They have those players strategically locked down. So when it comes to a Tony DeAngelo, it's like they can bench him and it doesn't matter. But when they had a best case scenario with him a few years ago, it was great, right? So they can they have flexibility with their roster, but then it's like you don't ever get the high risk, high reward, which is kind of what you need at this stage. But now they're doing, I guess it's low risk, high reward when it comes to a Jake Gensel. I mean, point per game in the playoff player. They played 58 playoff games, but we're talking about because that's right here. And I just love, did you hear that story about him and Rod Brindamore at, I think it was the 2022 All-Star game where they were just talking to each other like, I'm going to score on the next shift. And then he did. And I just think, I never knew about that until this trade happened, and I just think that's lovely. I think it's the perfect change of scenery. His words were so powerful, and it's really a great comeback story that looks like it's on track to happen.
Like a third of the Metropolitan Division roster in that All-Star game are Hurricanes. Gensel, Kuznetsov, Anderson, and Aho were all on that team. And so that was Kuznetsov's first experience playing for Rod as well, and I talked to him about it, and he loved it. And I think, and you know what the locker room is like. So it's perfect for a guy like Kuznetsov. It doesn't hurt that one of his best friends, Dmitry Orlov, is here, and Svechnikov and Kochetkov. So there's this Russian contingent. I think there's a great support system for him.
Yeah, love it. And of course, just kind of the atmosphere and the Caniacs, like they are special people, special fans. And Raleigh's a great place to kind of get on track, I think. I think it's a great environment, and it looks like he's going to really, they put him in a position to succeed too, especially even if the lines end up changing. It's like, I love that they come in and it's not like, oh, you have to, whatever. They're like, no, we're going to put you in a position to succeed if you work hard. And it was kind of a mutual agreement there.
Yeah, but I mean, he might not play with Gensel, but if he doesn't play with Gensel, he could be playing with Svechnikov and Natchez.
Yeah,
and
you really can't go wrong.
That'll still be fine. Sarah Sivian, Bleacher Report Open Ice, is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. You have so many credits. I haven't even gotten to Elite Prospects Rinkside, EP Rinkside. You can find Sarah everywhere. Who's the best team in the East?
Oh, goodness. I mean, I'm tempted to say the Canes from the recency bias and from what they did at the deadline. I mean, but then the Panthers did what was perfect for them, too. And they just had – I don't think they had an off night. I think Freddie Anderson was absolutely fantastic from the second he got on the ice, and that really set the tone. But I think that was a combination of the Hurricanes showing, nope, we can rule the East, too.
Mm-hmm.
And the Panthers, I don't know. That was such a big game. I'm tempted to go with the Hurricanes right now.
You don't have to. I think it's Florida.
I know I don't have to, but I kind of want to. I want to reward them. But
that's very nice.
The Panthers or the Hurricanes. What do you think?
I think Florida is the best team in the East. I think when Sam Bennett is back and healthy, and they get fully healthy on defense, I think they're the best team. But I don't think that they are unbeatable in any way, shape, or form. And Carolina's shut them out now in their last two times in the PNC Arena. The Kochetkov game 3 weeks ago was one of the greatest 1-0 games. There should have been 8 goals in that game. Like there should have been goals at both ends of the ice. And Bobrovsky and Kochetkov just took turns making stupid saves. It was incredible.
Yeah, that was awesome.
It's just an incredible game. But I think those are the two best teams. I understand there are Rangers fans listening to us going, we just beat you and we won the season series. I understand that, and I think the Rangers are really good. I don't think there's a huge difference between the two. But I think Carolina is probably a little bit better.
The Rangers are a little inconsistent to me year after year. And then I was a little underwhelmed by their trade deadline. I like Alex Wenberg. I think he's a good addition to what their team does. But I think there's too many factors that I don't know are going to pan out when it comes to the Rangers, when it comes to their younger players that are supposed to make an impact. And you see when Lafreniere's on, they win every single game, but when he's off, they lose. It's like there's too many variables that I'm not sure about, where teams like the Hurricanes and the Panthers have just been more consistent over a longer period of time.
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing about, Carolina is that they have had 2 winning streaks longer than 3 games all year, a 5-game winning streak and a 4-game winning streak. That's it. The Rangers, just in the last 20-some-odd games, have had 2 6-game winning streaks and a 10 and a 4. It's just they get on the long runs, but they also go through 2-3 weeks where they don't play well and they lose a bunch of games. That's the only reason why it's a 4-point spread with 16 games left to play. Final thing for you, Sarah Sivian, who's the best team in the West?
Oh, the Canucks. I got to ride with them. You know what? The Avalanche. I'm just thinking about it. I'm like, Nathan McKinnon is an absolute wagon, a beast. It's so fun to watch him play. Yep. And the way he's just built when you think about the best team, like maybe the Avs, like along the season, you've had the Canucks show that they are resilient, but the Avs haven't necessarily, after their one stint where there was a little bit of drama, they haven't had to be resilient. They just are powerful, and they have Nathan McKinnon. I love kind of what they did at the deadline to do these maneuvering moves where you improve down the middle. You get contract shedded if Landeskog's coming back. Then if Landeskog is coming back, what a story that is. Then I like Sean Walker. I like how he fits as a defensive kind of rover in their system. So I don't know. McKinnon is absolutely unstoppable, and he's having the best year of his career. So I got to go with the Avs.
Yeah, they are very good. I look forward to we need more style guides from you, Sarah Sivian. I appreciate your time. Too Many Men, the podcast, BR Open Ice on Twitter, Elite Prospects everywhere. My gosh, I appreciate everything. And you have been a guest on the Canes Corner podcast before, and we'll have to do that again soon.
Anytime. Let me know. Hope to make it down to Raleigh soon. Thanks,
yeah, we
Adam.
look forward to seeing you. All right. I'll talk to you soon, Sarah. Thank you so much.
See ya.
The best. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll come back. Speaking of hockey, one-timers. These are questions and answers. I think I got most of them wrong yesterday. That's all right. Nobody's grading me.
That's okay, yeah. It's just for fun.
So we'll do that again next.
Going beyond the box scores. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
The wait is over, college hoops fans. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, is officially live in North Carolina, and right now, new customers get $250 in bonus bets guaranteed when you make your first $5 bet. Just go to FanDuel.com, promo code AGS to sign up, and you can bet on everything from the money line to over-unders to which team will cut down the nets, all on an app that is safe, secure, and super easy to use. Take the court with $250 in bonus bets, win or lose, when you place your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com, promo code AGS to get started. FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. You must be 21 and over and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $10 deposit required. Bonus issued as a non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Hey, Joe. You come here often?
Yeah, just waiting for my pills. High blood pressure and cholesterol.
Oh, that'll cost you.
I can afford it. I have NC Medicaid.
They cover prescriptions?
Yep. Doctor's visits, screenings, emergency care at low or no cost.
I tried to get it before, but I made too much.
Try again. You can earn more and still get NC Medicaid. Just go to the website.
I'm going to do that.
NC Medicaid is for more people. See if you qualify at medicaid.nc.gov.
During this sports season, the Governor's Highway Safety Program would like to remind you to buckle your seatbelt when traveling to and from athletic events. Whether you are driving out of or across town, wearing a seatbelt is your best defense against injury or death in a crash. Start the season off right. Prioritize your safety and buckle up. Every seat, every time. Remember, click it or ticket. It's the law. This message is brought to you by the North Carolina High School Athletic Association and the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
Healthcare.gov is here for you when life happens. If you lost your health coverage because of turning 26, going off Medicaid, leaving your job, or moving, you could be eligible to enroll in new coverage now. And if you need to update your coverage because of marriage or having a baby, you could also be eligible. But don't wait. There's a limited time to enroll. Check your eligibility at healthcare.gov today. Life happens. Get covered. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. Need money for college? Well, if you're a North Carolinian from a household making $80,000 or less, the Next NC Scholarship could pay for more than half, if not all, of your tuition and fees at any NC community college or public university. And it doesn't have to be repaid. We're talking at least $3,000 for community college or $5,000 for a public university, and possibly more. Get all the details about the new Next NC Scholarship and see how simple it is to apply at nextncscholarship.org.
Hi, Darcy the Cow here for Black Cow, the mature manure. It's time to start getting your flower and vegetable gardens off to a great start with Black Cow. Prepare new plant beds with a 1.5-inch layer of Black Cow in the area and then mix it in with the soil 6 inches deep. Black Cow is organic. Pick up the bright yellow bag and get growing.
Black Cow, the mature manure, Black Cow.
Are you looking for a 2-year hands-on agricultural degree while still gaining the university experience? I'm Lee Ivey, Director of the Agricultural Institute at NC State University. We offer 6 associate's degrees that span the agricultural industry and set our students up to meet their goals. Come live on campus, learn on our farms, and be a part of the NC State community. Learn more about our program online by searching NC State Ag Institute. Deadline for fall enrollment is June 1st. 2 years, 1 degree, endless possibilities.
This is Adam Gold.
I would like to go to the supermarket with the Bears front office.
Exactly.
Right? Oh, no. Do I want like fruits and vegetables, or do I want this box of Devil Dogs? Devil Dogs, by the way, the greatest snack cake known to mankind. Unfortunately, you need a lot of milk. Otherwise, you're out of luck.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria producing the program. We're going to do one-timers in a second. Some NFL news to pass along. First, we'll start with the Panthers. Clavon Chason, who was a first-round pick back in 2020, an edge rusher. He went 20th in the first round that year to Jacksonville, signed a one-year, $5 million deal with the Panthers, and I guess he'll be part of their edge rushing, I don't know, consortium, whatever. 5 sacks total in 4 years in the NFL.
Ooh.
Yeah. It did, not all first-round picks work out.
Yeah.
But it's also sometimes you got to get in the right system. So hopefully he'll be able to play in this system. I know they talked to Jadeveon Clowney, the former South Carolina star, who's now played, I think, for 5 teams in the NFL. He is going to visit the Jets this weekend, I believe, or maybe early next week, and then make his decision. But that would be somebody else that would be great to add in, and probably wouldn't be a huge commitment either. They were clearly never going to commit to Brian Burns. That Aaron Donald, one of the greatest defensive players ever. Think about this, 10-year career, right? 10 years in the NFL, 10 Pro Bowls, 3 Defensive Player of the Year awards, 8-time first-team All-Pro, and a Super Bowl champion.
That's a good resume.
ACC legend, Aaron Donald. Actually played in the ACC, I believe. We don't get a lot of that.
No.
Where you play in the ACC. We're cherry picking like the greatest of Miami's era.
Right.
Jim Kelly is not an ACC legend.
No.
So Michael Irvin is not an ACC legend. But this was, he was just as good as you're going to find. So there's that. And I'm going to talk a little bit later on about Sam Howell and what the Washington Commandos are doing, which I can't figure out.
I have no idea.
Right now, time for one-timers. Questions and answers, definitive answers that I'll probably get wrong.
Yeah, I know. Speaking of, I don't know what's going on, the Bears are actually doing smart things, I've seen. So
wow.
They have made some good grabs.
Keenan Allen.
Keenan Allen now, so look at them go.
I have no idea what the Chargers are doing, but that's another story.
Exactly, yeah, that's crazy. But starting things off, hockey. So the Canes, their next one is going to be in Toronto taking on the Leafs. They have seen them before, December 30th, where they did beat them in Toronto.
Kochetkov.
Yes. So they are also 2 points below the Canes, I believe. Do you think that this is going to be an edgy type game because of that and their history since they're already down one?
I don't know that Toronto plays an edgy game.
Right.
So it's not something I think you have to do to beat Toronto. But it's going to be a skating game, which doesn't hurt Carolina.
No.
It's just that when you make mistakes, and this is where Carolina's got to start, like the way they played against Florida yesterday, there weren't a lot of mistakes. There weren't a lot of room in the ice. You play that way against Toronto, I think you wear them down. So I like Carolina against the Maple Leafs.
Okay.
But you can't be messing around with the puck. You can't screw it up.
Don't play with your food.
No.
So is there something that stands out with Toronto that's maybe their secret weapon that might be an issue for the Canes?
Not a secret. Austin Matthews is a pinball machine.
He is.
I don't give him any quarters. Seriously,
Yeah.
he is a. What does he have 70 goals yet?
I know.
I mean, he's like,
I usually
I'm not
pick
joking.
him for an anytime goal scorer.
Right? Not joking. He scores in more games, I think, than they play.
And I know he's scoring in his sleep. It counts too. So yeah, cover him.
Marner is tough, but between Matthews and William Nylander, and they've got a mobile defense.
Yeah.
The trick for them is, do they have good enough goaltending?
Yeah.
Not sure that they do.
Okay. Well, moving on to college basketball. So, what can Virginia bring tonight versus State that might be an issue for State, or the biggest issue?
A blanket and pillows.
Yeah.
It's Virginia basketball. They're going to try to bore us to tears. They're going to try to make the game not fun. Mm-hmm. And that's what Virginia does best.
Yeah.
They do not care if anybody is having a good time.
Well, DJ Burns will fix that.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Look, I hope the Wolfpack play the way the Wolfpack played against Duke. Man, 4 games in 4 nights, not easy. It's just not easy. So, and maybe because Virginia played last and Virginia also went overtime, although, I mean, they're playing the second game anyway. Maybe that matters. But, Virginia's going to try to make you hate being there.
Yeah,
I hate
exactly. So State has crazy momentum going right now. Do you think that they can win these games, win it all off of momentum or a skill set versus another team, which, that could be UNC maybe potentially?
Here's the
we'll
thing.
Get them.
Can they win 5 games in 5 days? Yeah. These kids play all the time anyway. I'm not so concerned about 5 in 5 days. If Pitt does something spectacular and beat North Carolina, yeah, I think NC State can win these 2 games. Because I don't think there's a ton of difference between the state that should be and Virginia and Pitt. No, North Carolina's a different animal. If North Carolina is playing on Saturday night, well, we're playing, we might as well win it. And I don't think that that's a game State can win. But I think they can beat the other 2 teams, so maybe somebody does, takes Carolina out.
Well, and to close it out, because we have about 25 seconds, who do you see making it to the championship game tomorrow? If you had to make a prediction.
I think we're going to have an all-North Carolina ACC tournament final. For the second time. Last time was that 2007.
That would be fun.
In Tampa. And that was a fun game, but ultimately, UNC was too good.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
What a week of basketball we have had so far, especially if you have a little extra incentive on how the results turn out. Hey, it's Victoria Vodnecker for BetMGM, and not only do I care about this college basketball tournament going on right now because we are in the land of college basketball, but I've been participating in some wagers I just could not resist because of the special promotions BetMGM is offering. There's still time, though, in case you haven't signed up yet. You can turn $5 into $150 in bonus bets instantly when you place your first wager. Simply download the BetMGM app and sign up using code Victoria. Then place a $5 wager on any of your favorite sports and you'll receive $150 in bonus bets instantly, regardless of how your wager turns out. Just use code Victoria. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. North Carolina only. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
What? New scratch-offs are out? That means new chances to become a North Carolina Education Lottery Winners Club member.
Yeah, in the Winners Club, I'll reinvent myself. I won't go by just plain Todd. I'll go by Toddrick. I'll get a gold jacket, play my saxophone again. I'll stop and smell the flowers, call my mom more.
Ugh, wrap it up, Todd.
It's Toddrick.
This month's tickets pack $370 million in total prizes. The Winners Club awaits. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 1 in 2.93 to 4.24. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Academy Sports and Outdoors is the sporting goods store that's all about fun. And a new location is coming to Knightdale. With great brands at the best prices, you'll always find the gear you need to play the games you love and enjoy your favorite outdoor activities with your favorite people. Academy has it all in store and online. No matter how you have fun out there, your next adventure starts here. Your new Academy Sports and Outdoors store is coming soon to Knightdale. Until then, check out academy.com.
Martinsville is truly one of a kind. The speed, the shape, the history, heck, even the hot dogs. It's one event too amazing to miss. NASCAR Weekend at Martinsville Speedway, April 5th through the 7th. Get your tickets now at martinsvillespeedway.com.
Did you know one of the best investments you can make? It's in yourself. At My Computer Career, in just a few months, you could start your new career in the high-demand, recession-resistant field of information technology. Isn't it time you invest in you and start a career in networking, cybersecurity, AI, or upskill to boost your current IT career? So, get the ROI you deserve at My Computer Career. No experience necessary. Start now at mycomputercareer.edu.
Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
Organize easy. Organize tough. Customize your work truck or van with upfit solutions from Van Products. Steel and aluminum shelving, toolboxes, data files, cabinets, drawers, conduit carriers, ladder racks, everything safe and secure. Everything built as unbreakable as you by Adrian Steel. Backed by the best warranty in the business. 3 years, 36,000 miles. Everything custom installed by Van Products so you know it's done right. From a single work rig to a fleet, choose custom installed upfit solutions from Van Products.
Savings. Now that's speaking the Lowe's language. And with My Lowe's Rewards, your savings just keep coming. Save money with member-only offers and earn points when you shop. More points equal more rewards just for you. Because Lowe's knows you earned it, literally. Learn more about our new loyalty program at lowes.com/MyLowe'sRewards. Program subject to terms and conditions. Points are awarded on eligible purchases. See lowes.com/terms for full details. Subject to change.
This hour on the Triangle Sports Leader is brought to you by the Ritchie Law Firm Injury Lawyers.
You can feel the madness!
Go to GotBrian.com. That's GotBrian.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on radio, web, app, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
I think the ACC gets 4. I think there is an open door given, favorable results and maybe an unfavorable treatment of Indiana State that could allow for a 5th. And there's a couple teams that are there. But it sounds like you are questioning the strength of the Mountain West.
It is so hard to compare across because there's so little overlap from the Mountain West to the ACC. Jay Billis said we should have an ACC Mountain West challenge. It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria's here. Brian Geisinger, in about 20 minutes, we'll talk. How did NC State do it? What are Duke's issues? And is North Carolina almost unstoppable in D.C.? The next tournament will take care of itself. By the way, not that this really matters. I think the bracketologists have Carolina back on the number 1 line. And I think Jerry Palm, our friend, has Duke as a 4, which, frankly, I wouldn't cry about. Whatever. Play better. I mean, you had opportunities to win games, win some others. They could have won last night, didn't. State won it.
Yeah.
Play better.
Jeremy Roach thinks that this one's not important anyway.
Right. We're gonna hear from Jeremy Roach in a minute. We're also gonna hear from DJ Burns, who spit bars of truth last night after the game, because it did to a lot of people feel like a pro NC State building, and we'll get to that in a second. First, a couple of things that I wanted to get to we haven't gotten to yet, and it's already into our second hour. We're going to talk a lot of basketball with Brian, and what we have our roundtable. We're going to talk hoops and Panthers coming up next hour. And we will get to this a little bit later on with Dan Wolken, but I want to spend 3 minutes on it now. 2 things. One, we know that the basketball tournament is going to expand. At some point, it's going to expand. How much is really what remains to be seen. So the committee, well, I don't even know what the committee is called anymore, but Greg Sankey, the commissioner of the SEC, is on this committee that recommended NCAA men's basketball tournament expansion. Now, they had talked about going to as many as 96 teams. We're not going to go there now, but frankly, we will eventually, because this is what tournaments do. So we're at 68, and my guess is what we'll probably simply do is add 4 more play-in games, much like we have now, 2 teams seeded 16 playing for a spot in the main draw, 2 teams seeded 11 at-large teams playing for a spot in the main draw. And you'll see another 4 of those games, however many teams that adds, I don't know, but I believe that's what we'll have. But here's Greg Sankey, the commissioner of the SEC, on why they should expand. And he pointed to the fact that UCLA, as an 11 seed, got to the national championship game, right? I don't know how many years ago this was now. And Syracuse from the ACC was an 11 seed and got to the Sweet 16, right? And then they played a play-in game in Dayton and got to the Sweet 16. And here's what he says. We're giving away highly competitive opportunities for automatic qualifiers from smaller leagues. And I think that pressure is going to rise as we have more competitive basketball leagues at the top end because of expansion. I've got 2 things. One, yeah, those teams at the bottom of the at-large pool can win, which is why they're in. However, he basically says we're giving away these big boys and their chance to these patsies. Dude, Princeton from the Ivy League last year got to the Sweet 16. St. Peter's 2 years ago from the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference. Tiny St. Peter's. You can fit them in this studio. Elite 8. Oral Roberts, 2021, from the whatever conference they're in. What conference is Oral? I don't know. Summit, maybe? I'm not sure. Sweet 16. 2018, Loyola of Chicago and Sister Jean. They go to the Final Four. It's freaking basketball. Anybody can win. It's not charitable. And on top of that, Mr. Sankey, do you know what the charm, what the appeal of the NCAA tournament is? Are you new here? The appeal of the tournament is the first week. The appeal of the first week are upsets. Once we get through the first round, it's simply a basketball tournament. We just crown a national champion, and that's great. But the romance of this event, unless you decide you want to destroy it, which I know you do, whether you want to admit it or not, but the romance of the tournament is what is the selling point. It wouldn't be nearly as impactful and attractive if we kind of weeded out some of the smaller schools. So get your head out of your rear end. And here's the other thing. The last part of that is appalling to me because he clearly isn't listening to himself. We have more competitive basketball leagues at the top end because of expansion. How competitive is the Pac-12 now? I would like to know.
It's a great question.
I would like to. Is it really competitive?
Right.
Right. If you keep stealing teams from these leagues, they will cease to be as good because we don't just regenerate these teams. I shouldn't be this pissed off on it. Can I say that? I'm sorry if I can't say that. I shouldn't be this mad on a Friday.
Yeah.
But I read stuff like this and I go, you're an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
And these people have power because honestly, their football is great and therefore they're smelling their own, arts.
Yeah.
And they think they have the answers to all of this. I'm like, Greg, just watch your football teams dominate. That's fine. It should be good for you. On top of the fact that you've already gerrymandered the college football playoff field. The whole thing is it's gross. Speaking of college football playoff field, that is basically a done deal. The 12-team expansion is, we already know what the format's going to be. Top 5 automatic qualifying, top 5 automatic qualifiers. And the next 7 best at-large teams will get in. After that, It's probably going to be 14, but what they've said is it's no less than 12. It'll be 14, and it will remain top 5 qualifying conferences plus the 9 best at-large teams with guarantees to protect Notre Dame as though if they were good enough to get in, they wouldn't get in, which, of course, is silly. But this whole thing this reeks, and I'm embarrassed for Jim Phillips and Brett Yormark, the commissioners of the ACC and the Big 12, who have essentially just rolled over and taken it because the money is going to be about 3 times, like guaranteed money, 3 times more for the SEC and the Big 10, regardless of who makes it, than the SEC and the Big 12. Now, here's as one group of 5 administrators said, it's like the Godfather who made you the offer you can't refuse. This just in, that wasn't a good offer. It was an offer to keep you alive. Do this for me so I don't kill you. That's what the offer is. And I'm embarrassed for everybody involved, including the people who were wielding the power. So that's why they get my blood boiling on a Friday.
I guess they
why
just
are they
want to
doing
end
that to me?
the week on a high note.
All right. Now back to more fun things. I want to start with DJ Burns because DJ Burns is a great spokesman for NC State. And after the game last night in the locker room, he was asked about the environment in D.C., which seemed to be pretty pro-NC State.
What was it like hearing so many fans from different schools wanting to see y'all win and pull this off?
I mean, we know what it's about. They ain't really cheering for us, so we move on. Thank you, though.
Why do you say that? Like
they weren't cheering for us. They were cheering for Duke to not win. There's a difference.
Now, from the outside, what was it like for you to see how the night he did a double-double and he's all
He did it again? Or, I mean, I called last night. He got it last night. That's a double-double. Amazing. I hope you do it again tomorrow and the day after that. It was a killer.
DJ, you guys are the first team ever to make it from Tuesday to Friday. Because
really,
obviously it's harder to keep playing game after game, but how much confidence have you guys gotten from the 3 games you've won?
We have no plans on stopping. We're about to see who wins this next game, scout them up, and get ready for them.
DJ, where has this version of you guys been? Like, it seemed like you guys have been waiting for things to click, and here it is.
I mean, I don't know where it's been. I'm just glad it's here now. I hope it don't go nowhere else.
All right, that's DJ Burns. The first part of that was the best part, and it's right, and it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
There are a lot of ABD.
He knows what it is.
Anybody but Duke. There are a lot of those people, and that's fine.
Yeah.
That is fine. Just like there are people who hate the Yankees, who hate the Cowboys, who hate whoever.
Sure.
There are a lot of people who just hate Duke.
Anybody but them.
And that's okay. That's what makes the world go round. But I appreciate DJ Burns speaking the truth there. But to his credit, he was excellent last night, and he didn't have to dominate in terms of points, right? He didn't have to go nuts. He had stayed on the court. Best thing that DJ Burns did last night, committed 1 foul, drew 5.
Yeah.
Best thing he did last night was he got Duke in some foul difficulty, and he was able to stay on the court doing that. All right, now here's Jeremy Roach from the Blue Devils. After the game last night, give a listen.
We control our own destiny, and like I said, we came here for something bigger, and we're not really playing for ACC championships and stuff like that. But, I mean, obviously it's great to get an ACC championship, but we came for something bigger, and that's Phoenix. So.
Jared said he felt like, or the team in general, there was a lot of struggles that you experienced in the Carolina game that carried over to tonight. Yeah. How frustrating is that you guys probably tried to work on it and it just didn't translate on the court?
It's very frustrating, but like I said, it's in our control to do what we got to do. Got to see where we end up in the tournament. We got to just go from there. I mean, can't really dwell on this. I mean, I kind of think back to my sophomore year when we lost in the championship. Like that year, we didn't come to just win the ACC championship. We came to get to the national championship. We made a hell of a run. So I think we're kind of in that same predicament right now. So.
You guys had the locker room closed for a bit. Was that a player-led conversation, coach-led, collaboration?
We'll have a player-led conversation when we get back to you.
Thank you.
All right. let me just go back to the beginning of that. Basically saying we come here to win an ACC championship. So, permission to devalue last year's ACC championship. Just so we're all on the same page here.
Because that didn't matter.
All right. To me, that's self-medication, and I'll cut him slack on that. But you were there, and what better way to prepare for the next tournament than this one? So Duke did not lose in the NCAA tournament last year because they won the ACC tournament a year ago. They lost in the NCAA tournament because they came up against a team that was full with grown men who beat the living hell out of them, and Duke couldn't handle it as a younger, more finesse-y team. Right? They just could not cope with it. And Tennessee literally beat them up. And they're still vulnerable to that. But when Jeremy says that, these things are in our control, evidence is showing that not to be the case. It wasn't in your control against North Carolina. It wasn't in your control last night against NC State. Unless you just chose not to.
Right, and that's not a good look either way.
I don't know. Maybe that's more evidence that it's in their control. But once there wasn't a lot of compete.
No.
From Duke last night. So now that's the way you win these games. It's not the only way you win these games.
But it helps.
Yeah, unless you have significantly more talent than the other guy. And I think if we lined up Duke and State, we would say Duke has more talent than the Wolfpack.
They just didn't show up, all of them, last night.
Right. And what State did was they combined that with a little bit more want to.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if Duke is not going to play that way, if they're not going to play where they get to loose balls, they get on the offensive glass, they drive the ball and get to the free throw line, which, frankly, I don't know why they didn't do that against the Wolfpack. If you're not going to do that, then you'll never see Phoenix unless you have a ticket.
Yeah.
They want to go to Phoenix. The only way they're getting there is to change their approach mentally. And we keep hearing that it's so in our control. And I think for the second press conference in a row, John Shire's probably pretty upset about it. Because they were out-competed again. And there's just no way you can allow that to happen if you've got all the talent. So it's going to be, it could be a short run. Now, they have so much ability that it could also click and it could be a long run.
Yeah.
So they are as I've said before about them, they are the ultimate depends on the draw type team to me.
Yeah.
Brian Geisinger will join us. We'll talk about last night's State win over Duke and the potential of a State-North Carolina rematch next.
Raleigh to Boone, Charlotte to Chapel Hill. Your Carolina is covered. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Bring on the madness.
O'Connell with a rebound long down the floor to Diarra to the trailing Morcell jams it. Casey Morcell with a two-hand jam.
It's ACC Championship Week.
Proctor on the follow back up. Can't get it to go. There's the horn. It's all over. And the Pack upsets 11th ranked Duke 74-69 here in the ACC quarterfinals.
The ACC basketball tournament on 99.9 The Fan is brought to you by Carolina Ale House, Fairway Green, and Bailey's Fine Jewelry.
Hey, it's Adam Gold, and I'm a sports guy, and sports guys like to find turning points in a game, turning points in a season. How about a turning point in my life? I was a contact lens wearer, and then I met Dr. Lori Travers and Travers LASIK. These people are the best. She's the area's only LASIK specialist, and she took me to 20/20 vision in about 10 minutes. 5 minutes per eye. That's all it took. It was utterly painless, and 0% financing for 24 months is available. And you'll actually save money anyway. Think about all the other stuff that costs, the contacts, the glasses, the solutions, all of that. In just 5 minutes per eye, Dr. Lori puts you on the path to 20/20 vision. Here's the hard part. You actually have to pick up the phone. 919-510-6830. Make the call now. 919-510-6830. Wait, you could just go online. TraversLASIK.com. Again, the phone number is 919-510-6830, and the consultation is free. Travers LASIK. There is no one better than Dr. Lori Travers. Travers LASIK. See what you've been missing.
You call that a precision stop?
When a rookie stunt driver, just give me a shot, meets the trainer who thought he'd seen it all.
Come on, focus.
They'll soon find out that behind the wheel of the Nissan Rogue, with the power of VC Turbo and the most fuel-efficient gas-powered engine in its class,
watch this,
the protege can become a master. But this is no ordinary blockbuster. It's a Nissan sales event ad. Woo!
Level up your drive with 1.9% APR financing for 60 months on the 2023 Nissan Rogue. Shop the Nissan sales event. Visit your local Nissan store and nissanusa.com today. Auto Pacific segmentation excluding hybrids and electric vehicles. 2024 EPA fuel economy estimates from 28 city 34 highway to 30 city 37 highway for 2024 Nissan Rogue. Actual mileage may vary. For well-qualified buyers, 1.9% APR financing for 60 months on new 2023 Rogue and dealer stock. Example, 60 months financing at $1,748 per month per thousand financed. Actual down payment may vary. Subject to residency restrictions and in-MAC credit approval. Not all buyers qualify. Dealer contribution may affect actual price set by dealer. Contact dealer for details. Ends 4/1/24.
Tim Donnelly here for DraftKings Sportsbook. The wait is over. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of NASCAR, is now live in North Carolina. Now you can legally bet on all your favorite sports anytime, anywhere, right here in North Carolina with DraftKings. For a limited time, new customers who sign up with promo code TIMD, that's TIMD with no spaces, and bet $5 will receive $250 instantly in bonus bets. DraftKings has the best features, including same-game parlays, player props, and more, with fast and easy payouts right at your fingertips. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now using code TIMD and bet $5 to get $250 instantly in bonus bets. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code TIMD. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 877-185-543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. 21 plus, North Carolina only. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Deposit and eligibility restrictions apply. Terms at DraftKings.com/sportsbook/NC. NASCAR is not a sponsor of this promotion and used under license.
Direct Auto Insurance is for uncompromisers, like people who want flexible payment options. Take Corey. When his old car insurance wouldn't extend his payment date, do you think he stopped driving and started speed walking? No. He found Direct Auto and now pays in person with a local agent when it's convenient for him. And you can too. Get a free quote at a store near you. Direct Auto. Stop compromising. Keep driving. Terms apply. National General Group, Winston-Salem.
This is Adam Gold.
I would like to go to the supermarket with the Bears front office.
Exactly.
Right? Oh, no. Do I want like fruits and vegetables, or do I want this box of Devil Dogs? Devil Dogs, by the way, the greatest snack cake known to mankind. Unfortunately, you need a lot of milk. Otherwise, you're out of luck.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria producing the program. And we are stick deep in the ACC men's basketball tournament. We've got 3 games left. 7 o'clock tonight. It will be, actually it might be earlier, right? It might be a 6:30 start or something like that for North Carolina and Pitt, followed by Virginia and NC State. Wow.
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock for Carolina and Pitt. And then 9:30.
Mm-hmm.
We make us stay up to 9:30 again. No chance. I'll watch the State game in the morning when I wake up. I can't stay up. This week's killing me.
Yeah, I know.
This week is killing me.
Week.
But it is. Brian Geisinger, Pack Pride, 24/7 Sports, Buzzbeat Podcast, NBA basketball guru joins us to talk about what happened last night. So, what happened last night? How much? I mean, to me, obviously, State played great. So diagnose what you saw.
Yeah, I mean, I do think real quickly on Duke, just like one of the things that has flown like a little under the radar. I mean, we've talked about it, but like not a super deep bench, and Caleb Foster's been out for a couple of weeks now. Like he's an important player for them. They get 0 points from the bench last night.
Right.
I mean, there have been some moments where Sean Stewart looked like he was sort of like ready to get an extended run, and He didn't have a great showing last night. He played very well against State, a week and a half ago in Raleigh. But I really think what happened last night, I mean, there's lots of angles to look at it from Duke's perspective, but I really think you got to give State a ton of credit.
Yeah.
I mean, that has to be one of the bigger wins of the Kevin Keatts era, not just this season. I mean, top 10 team, 10-point favorite, all kinds of all ACC talent on the roster, back up against the wall for State. Who knows? Maybe they're playing a little loose now. If they're somewhere between back against the wall and no one believed in us, we get to play loose territory right now. It's just a dangerous place to see a team in a single elimination tournament. But I just think State cocks back and has, one of its best defensive performances of the season, which comes one day after they had an excellent defensive performance against Syracuse. I mean, I think it had been since the Virginia game in January that State had held an opponent under 1 point per possession in a game, and they got 2 of them in back-to-back games, including one against Duke, which is, one of the probably 5 to 10 best offenses in the country. And if you're going to go look at players, I mean, I think it was a team effort, but it really starts with Mo Diarra, who what this guy's doing is just incredible. It's incredible. And all season long, I mean, he's been a beast on the boards. He's been a versatile defender. He's given them some switchability on the perimeter. He's given them some rim protection. He steps up and takes the primary assignment against Kyle Filipowski last night, which also means he's out there switching a ton of screens. And I thought State had a good game plan to have DJ Burns on Mark Mitchell. And then when Kyle Filipowski goes into the post against the switch, when he's got Morcell or Horn or O'Connell on him with Diarra switched out, they had, DJ Burns sag off of Mitchell. And then sort of almost de facto double team any of those sort of high-low entry passes. I thought that was that State's defensive game plan was good. Mitchell hit some tough shots, but they didn't let that get them out of what their game plan was. At times, Duke tried to get Mitchell going to the rim as a screen setter and a roller against Burns. And I thought DJ got burnt one time in the first half, and for the most part was pretty solid, being in his drop setting against those looks. And then just Michael O'Connell at the point of attack. I mean, we could talk all we want, I guess, about the way he shot the ball in D.C., which has been incredible, and they're going to need more of that if they're going to get past Virginia. But his hit-ahead passes in transition, the way he gets State running, and his point of attack defense, the screen navigation against Syracuse and Duke was really good in back-to-back performances.
Brian Geisinger is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. Yeah, I do want to make sure that we give the credit to the Wolfpack. And the funny thing is that at the beginning of the year, we saw some potential to be a better defensive team. Their better defense is probably a more up-tempo defense, and their half court is not their strength. But if Duke's got limited numbers, and certainly Duke's not ideal because Mitchell doesn't pose really a perimeter threat to where Burns has to go out and get him there, has to honor that so he can sag off and still be just there to bother anybody else coming to the lane. It makes it a little bit easier. But yeah, State definitely played a better defensive game. But for the last couple of games, John Shire has been talking about the good thing is that all of these issues are in our control. So my question is, are they really in their control?
I mean, I think he's I think what he's saying, I think that's a little bit of coach speak to an extent. I mean, he's remained confident all season that Duke has all the pieces that it's needed. I remember him saying this.
I agree they have the pieces.
Yeah, it's just the roster is in some ways it is a little limited. I mean, they've got enough to go to the Final Four, right? They're super talented, but not having a bench. I mean, I think to an extent being able to play 10 deep, there's some overrated nature to that, but being able to go confidently having 6, 7 guys, and they're not far away from that. If Foster was healthy, they'd basically be right there. But that's the thing, he's not healthy. They don't have a 6'4" guard that can get downhill and is important as a driver and a passer, and is a pretty good spot up shooter for Duke as well. They do miss him. And then they have been trying all year to solve like the way teams have defended Mitchell. And it seemed like for big stretches of the year, after sort of some like bumps earlier on, they had kind of gotten to like a place where they could handle that. But, if they can't really like get to their get to some of their go-to stuff, like driving lanes for Proctor or high-low entry stuff for Kyle Filipowski, that stuff's getting clogged up because teams are able to like play off of Mitchell, then their ceiling is like a little bit lower in terms of the half-court offense. Mitchell's still really good. Like he is sort of like limited in this one way that teams are going to guard him. And I think he's done a nice job countering that at times. I think Duke's staff has put him in some good positions as well. But it's just the reality,
Right.
And like they just don't really have, other than I guess kind of TJ Power, they don't really have like a stretch shooting option in the front court, to like come in and play next to Filipowski and keep the defense humming. They don't have that. They don't have that piece. So like, I think Shire is right when he says they've got everything they need in house to get it done. I mean, you can see the talent, but the lack of depth, the lack of like stretch in the front court, and you can see it like when they if they put Filipowski or McCain or both those guys on the bench at the same time, those are lineups that just like can't survive. And like
Right.
you can't have McCain and Filipowski on the bench at the same time. I get fouls, but just like they can't survive it right now. And they're going to have to be a little bit more careful about that as they get into the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, I just think that their bigger issue, and John has talked about the competitive aspect of it, and I think that's what he's talking about controlling games. 50-50 balls against UNC weren't 50-50 balls. They were, 90-10 balls, and they didn't defend as aggressively and as consistently well against NC State. And a lot of that is NC State playing really well and really smart and really efficiently. And they didn't live at the three-point line. They only shot 16 threes. They made 7. And three of the 9 misses were Mo Diarra. And I highlighted him because he's one of my favorite players that they've got. I think Diarra is a dynamite player and has gotten so much better as the year has gone on. So let me just kick it forward. And, Duke's not there anymore, so let's talk about teams that are. Pitt, North Carolina last night, or coming up tonight. Carolina did what they did, and it was all based on defense, and I love every element of that. Pittsburgh. Now, they're probably, and they should be, in a mindset of we have to win this game, because I'm not sure that they don't in order to get an at-large bid, because they didn't really accomplish anything outside the league. Not that that really matters to other teams, but it matters to Pitt, apparently. How do you see that? Because Pitt doesn't have nearly as much depth, and Carolina's going to make everything difficult.
Yeah, I mean, Gold, I think we've talked about it for a couple of months now, but just like Carolina's defense, it's just better than the sum of its parts.
Yep.
Like they have obviously they've got really, really good players. But just the way all the perimeter guys have bought in to guarding. Like I rewatched the Duke UNC game this week, and I mean to see like what Cormac Ryan, Seth Trimble, like what those guys are doing away from the ball, really being super duper like Virginia Clemson style physical with guys off the ball and trying to deny handoffs and down screens. And then when they have to navigate on the ball, being super physical, getting over those screens, and then Armando Bacot or Jalen Washington are waiting in the paint. And so I'm going to be fascinated to see what Pittsburgh has cooked up to go at UNC's scheme, this drop defense. Because Pitt has 2 really, really good point guards, right? They're both freshmen, though, Jalen Lowe and Bub Carrington.
Right.
And, I think – UNC plays a scheme with this drop coverage where Carrington's going to have pull-up looks. Lowe's going to have he loves to get that to that little lefty floater and runner. Those looks are going to be there. It's just they're also going to be contested from behind by the the guard RJ Davis or Elliot Cadeau or Cormac Ryan, the guys that are navigating screens. And sometimes those shots they can look open, but they're still tough off dribble looks. UNC's defense whole year has been basically trying to stuff guards into phone booths when they're coming off those screens and then make them take contested pull-up twos. And it's worked very, very well. Looking at KenPom, UNC, only 40% of the field goals against them this season have been assisted. It's a top 10 rate, top 7 rate nationally. So they're trying to encourage you to take off dribble twos and take away the paint with Baycott, dropping at the rim. The only thing too is like Bub Carrington, there's some percent chance that guy is just on a heater tonight. And like all of a sudden, like, does he get his pull-ups, and does that make UNC scheme, not this as powerful as it has been for the vast majority of the season? As good as Carrington is and as good as Lowe are, I kind of think that's going to be tough for them. And so then it turns to like Blake Hinson. Like, how do you want to guard him coming off screens? Are you going to switch against him? Who are the matchups? Can Jalen Withers and Seth Trimble give you help off the bench? What does Harrison Ingram's role look like? And can Pittsburgh, can they take advantage of that drop coverage with Hinson? Maybe not him dribbling off pick and roll, but you get him coming off of pin downs that are being set by Pittsburgh centers, Federico, or Diaz Graham. You let him curl off those looks, and if it's against Baycott, well, he's going to be dropped into the paint. So it's not going to be a switch. So he might be able to curl off and get into space. And so just like, can they screen well for Hinton off the ball and maybe try to get him to like weirdly attack to weirdly kind of like attack the drop coverage, but to not do it by using ball screens, to use it by, pin downs and that type of stuff. So we'll see how creative Jeff Capel can get and how the freshman guards perform.
Brian Geisinger is joining us here. We talked to Jeff Capel the other day. It was a fascinating discussion, I thought. And we talked about Blake Hinson, and you always say that he has irrational confidence. And Jeff, not Jeff, we could talk to Jason, and Jason said he has unreasonable confidence. So I just thought that was absolutely hysterical, that he basically feels the same way about Blake Hinson as you do, one of my favorite players to watch. All right, so State of Virginia have played twice, right? They split them, right?
Yep.
Wolfpack won in Raleigh, Virginia won up in Charlottesville. How does this one work out?
I'm fascinated. I mean, I think it's going to be a game that's going to get, Virginia, they tend to drag games into the mud. That's where they want to play.
They hate
I think
fun.
One of the few times this year I haven't seen them get it into the mud was when they got blown out by Duke at Cameron a couple of weeks ago. Yeah. But given how State's defense has looked the last couple of games, like playing better, and obviously Virginia not a high-powered offense, like this does feel like it's just going to be like a grimy, low-scoring game, low-possession game. And I think what State can do defensively with how they want to switch using Diarra, like they can take away some of Virginia's, off-ball motion, all the blocker mover and little inside motion triangle sets they run where they try to get, Isaac McNeely and Jake Groves. They're two really good shooters coming off of down screens. I think a lot of it depends on, can you keep Reese Beekman out of the paint? It's hard to do. He's so clever. He's such a high field player. He's playing really well. The guy is, I think he's ready to step onto an NBA roster and be a contributor next season. He's just making play after play for Virginia, really, really special. And then defensively, they're going to probably put Beekman on Horn when he comes to the game.
Right.
He's now the microwave guy off the bench for State. How does he handle that? That's tough. Beekman's a really tough guy to attack. What do the post-ups look like for DJ Burns? Can Jordan Minor guard him one-on-one? I know UVA is known as like a post, an automatic, post-trap, post-double team, but they're doing that less now, and certainly you want to stay out of rotation against Burns. We've seen all kinds of teams have to deal with this throughout the year, including UVA. And Minor was able to guard Quentin Post one-on-one in the post late last night against Boston College. Had some big stops. So maybe they'll try that. How does Burns respond? And can State get a little bit more movement off the ball even when he does get into some of those post-ups? Because they still need Horn and Burns to drive the offense. But I do think if they continue to get this kind of secondary shooting and playmaking from Taylor and O'Connell, it's huge because Burns and Horn are going to deliver. It's just they create open looks for other guys. Can those guys just capitalize when they get the wide open, spot up three?
And wouldn't it be appropriate if Casey Morsell delivered?
Yeah.
Against his former club. Now he had a big game on Tuesday night, right? Casey at
in
25.
DC. in D.C. is where he's from Washington D.C. too.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of this is a homecoming game, sort of like in multiple ways for Casey.
No question about that. Brian Geisinger, I am picking an all North Carolina ACC tournament final.
Wow.
I would love to see Pitt do something crazy tonight because I want them in the tournament, but I don't think they're beating UNC.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think North Carolina is heads and shoulders better than everybody in this field.
UNC is really good. They're really, really, really good. But it'd be fun to see. I mean, Pitt has some of the tools to do it. It's just like I don't love it's just hard. It's really hard. UNC makes it super, super duper tough. And force them out for Wake Forest too. Really enjoyed watching them this season, but it feels like this is their third straight year. They're going to just sort of like narrowly miss the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, go win the NIT like Dave Odom used to do every other year.
Legacy, baby.
Brian Geisinger, our college basketball guru, 24/7 Sports Buzzbeat podcast. I can't speak suddenly. At bgeis_bird. My man, I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, you guys enjoyed the games tonight.
Thanks, man. You too. Brian, he always enjoys the games. Brian's a complete savant.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So,
it's his wheelhouse for sure.
Yeah, here's inside baseball is that a lot of the stuff that Brian is talking about, I have no idea what he's talking about. Curl this and pin that. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what those mean.
Yeah.
I have to nod. Especially since we're on camera, I got to nod all the time.
Right.
All right, we are going to place bets, and we're going to stretch in a second. Couple of things. Just want to point out. One of the best defensive players in the history of the NFL, Aaron Donald, has retired. Announced his retirement today. So I'll just throw you 3 things that Aaron Donald accomplished in his 10 years with the Rams in the NFL, and he is an ACC legend. He was in the Pro Bowl, or named a Pro Bowler, which we haven't had a Pro Bowl now for a couple of years. But he's been a Pro Bowler all 10 years he's been in the league. 8 times first-team All-Pro, which means here's our starting 11 on both sides of the ball, and he is one of the 2 best defensive tackles on earth. 8 times for that. 3-time Defensive Player of the Year in the NFL. He's been amazing. He did win a Super Bowl a few years ago as well. So he is retiring from the Rams. And I wanted to mention this before we haven't gotten to it yet. So let me just throw this out there right now. I have a question for the Washington Commandos. So you have the 2nd pick in the draft. And it's almost certain that you are going to take a quarterback with the 2nd pick in the draft. I get it. I get it all. You're going to take a quarterback. Sam Howell had a nice year. He finally gets a chance to start this year. He has a nice year. Ron Rivera, who apparently forgot that he could start Sam Howell 2 years ago, which is fine.
Sometimes he forgets when he's playing for the playoffs.
That is true.
Yeah.
Really? We're eliminated?
Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
Math.
Yeah.
So Howell gets a chance to play this year, and he proved to be good. Not great. He's not a franchise quarterback. He really is a backup. He is a career backup quarterback. So Washington signs Marcus Mariota. I actually don't even know what they're paying him, but it's not nothing. They signed Marcus Mariota to be a backup. They're going to draft a quarterback at number 2. Whether it's Drake May or Jaden Daniels, don't know. Caleb Williams is going to get drafted by the Chicago Bears first. They just traded Sam Howell to Seattle. Now, they get, draft stuff back and all that. But I have a question for you. If you already have a quarterback, and he's a good enough quarterback to play, but he's really not a starter, and you only have to pay him $1 million a year for the next 2 years, why wouldn't you keep that?
It's a great question.
Why wouldn't you keep Sam Howell around? I mean, I'm sure he wants to start.
Yeah.
But just because you draft a quarterback doesn't mean that the guy you draft has to start right away because we should be smarter about this. And if Sam Howell is playing at a decent enough level and you have the opportunity to not rush the second overall pick onto the field, you should do that.
Yeah.
And who knows, maybe Howell becomes your backup quarterback for a long time. And did I mention that he was cheap?
Right. Which is always important in football.
2 more years at $1 million a year. I don't even understand why why Washington didn't keep him.
Yeah.
I don't.
No sense.
The only thing is, like, if Howell walked into the office and said, I want out because I want to play, then you go, all right, fine. And he's being traded to a place where he might play.
Yeah.
But it's really up to Geno Smith whether or not Sam Howell plays. So I don't understand that from Washington's perspective. But
no,
there's a lot of things that I have not understood from Washington's perspective.
No.
Even under new management. They've been a little confusing to me, even under new management.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. We have our bets to place. I was this close to a 4-figure win.
Oh, man.
That close. If you're looking at the camera, thumb and forefinger very close together.
It's very close.
We did win one, so we're still positive for the
Yes.
day, and we're positive up substantially for the week. Isn't that nice? Next.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Are you taking care of someone on Medicare? Navigating Medicare can be overwhelming. You're not alone. The NC Department of Insurance SHIP program can help you figure out what steps to take and when. SHIP counselors can answer your questions. Visit ncshiip.com or call toll-free at 855-408-1212. SHIP provides free, unbiased help in all 100 counties.
Project supported by grants from the Administration for Community Living. Contents do not necessarily represent official views of, nor an endorsement by ACL, HHS, or the U.S. government.
The wait is over, North Carolina. FanDuel is America's #1 sports book and is officially live in the Tar Heel State. And right now, new customers get $250 in bonus bets guaranteed when you bet your first $5. Go to FanDuel.com, promo code AGS to sign up. Then you can bet on everything from college hoops to NASCAR and everything in between, all on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Get started with $250 in bonus bets, win or lose, when you place your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com. Promo code AGS to get started. FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. You must be 21 or over and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $10 deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
During this sports season, the Governor's Highway Safety Program would like to remind you to buckle your seatbelt when traveling to and from athletic events. Whether you are driving out of or across town, wearing a seatbelt is your best defense against injury or death in a crash. Start the season off right. Prioritize your safety and buckle up. Every seat, every time. Remember, click it or ticket. It's the law. This message is brought to you by the North Carolina High School Athletic Association and the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
Healthcare.gov is here for you when life happens. If you lost your health coverage because of turning 26, going off Medicaid, leaving your job, or moving, you could be eligible to enroll in new coverage now. And if you need to update your coverage because of marriage or having a baby, you could also be eligible. But don't wait. There's a limited time to enroll. Check your eligibility at healthcare.gov today. Life happens. Get covered. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. Think earning a degree is out of reach? Well, if you're a North Carolinian from a household making $80,000 or less, it's time to think again. Because the new Next NC Scholarship could cover all of your tuition and fees at any of the 58 NC community colleges. Or at least half, if not all of your tuition and fees at one of the 16 public universities across the state. The best part? It doesn't have to be repaid. See if the Next NC Scholarship could be the opportunity for you and how simple it is to apply at nextncscholarship.org.
Everyone goes through tough times, and everyone can get through them, as long as they don't have to do it alone. Dial 988 if you need someone to talk to. Get what you need to get to a better place. Together, we'll find the care that works best for you. We're here 24/7. Call, text, or chat 988. 988. Let's get through it together. Brought to you by the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services.
Hi, Darcy the cow here for Black Cow, the mature manure. It's time to start getting your flower and vegetable gardens off to a great start with Black Cow. Prepare new plant beds with a 1.5-inch layer of Black Cow in the area and then mix it in with the soil 6 inches deep. Black Cow is organic. Pick up the bright yellow bag and get growing.
Black Cow, the mature manure. Black Cow.
When you're high, you feel different. But if you feel different, you drive different. So don't drive high. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
This is Adam Gold.
What type of soup is Jason Kelsey?
He would be like a chicken and dumplings.
Oh, chicken and dumpling.
Yeah.
Very nice. Maybe like an Italian wedding soup. What kind of soup would Travis Kelsey be?
Travis, I feel like he'd be like a tomato bisque.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria producing the program. Another thing we haven't mentioned in a little bit, the Panthers have signed Kalavon Chason, an edge rusher who spent the last 4 years with the Jacksonville Jaguars. He was a first-round pick for them in the 2020 draft, which, of course, is the weird draft, right? That was the pandemic draft where Roger Goodell conducted it from his basement, which is actually, in some ways, an incredibly well-produced, super interesting draft to watch. Not to mention the fact that we got a chance to see, even though he was a terrible coach, Cliff Kingsbury's, home setup.
Right, yeah.
Right? Wasn't he kind of like living on the beach in Malibu or something? Or was that Sean McVay? I think it was Kingsbury.
Yeah.
So you
Wasn't
see
that
the
also,
beach out in the background.
that was Belichick's one with the dog, right?
Oh, that was fantastic.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Best. Every time the camera cut to Belichick's house, the dog was in front of the laptop. Brilliant.
It's fine. I'd rather see the dog.
Absolutely brilliant. Yeah. I mean, he's going to, Peyton Manning's Omaha Productions is going after Bill. Are they trying to do like some nighttime programming to put people to bed?
Maybe. I don't know.
What are we doing with Bill Belichick? Come
Yeah.
on. How's he going to be fun?
I know.
Everything Manning
NyQuil's
does.
cheaper.
See also that Peyton Manning is going to be part of the NBC opening ceremonies coverage?
Whoa. No.
What?
Oh,
All right,
wow.
fine, whatever. I mean, opening ceremonies aren't for everybody.
Why don't we get Jason Kelsey?
That would be better.
Is what
That would be much better.
Yes.
No shirt.
Yeah, he's retired now.
No shirt. And
Beanie, no shirt.
It's the Summer Olympics. It'll
holding
be warm.
up children. I mean, it's yes.
It'll be warm in Paris.
Yeah.
All right, let's stretch.
Okay, so
Right.
speaking, these articles, what are people doing? So something leaked on social media in Japan that was teasing a McDonald's French fry perfume. Yeah. No, for real. It was a French fry smelling perfume.
Perfume.
In case you want to smell like their tiny little French fries. So, and they actually had 3 other fragrances. Garlic, black pepper, mayo seasoning. I feel like Will Levis would really like that one. Maybe one that's just simply salted fries. However, the spokesperson in McDonald's of Japan said the image was part of their promotion for a limited time flavored fries product. So it's not actually a perfume because people, I guess, were getting excited and wanted it to be in the States. So they made a big fuss, and he was like, oh, no, sorry, it's a promotional thing. However, in this article, other fast food places have done similar things before.
Right.
I did not realize this. KFC had a fried chicken scent. Pizza Hut had a pizza perfume. There was a flame-grilled fragrance for Big
These
Whoppers.
are not perfumes.
I know. You know what else works? If you just go to the restaurant or the fast food place and stay there a while, then you're going to smell like it. So you don't need a perfume. Why? When did perfume turn into that? I don't know. Like,
What, walk around smelling like French fries?
when did people want to start smelling like grease? I don't get it. But no, it's in case you see this on social media, it's all a scam. But this, however, is not a scam. Peeps. I know you love a peep. He doesn't love Peeps. The face, this is why you have to watch the camera thing. Peeps, I guess, aren't selling as many marshmallows, so now they want you to smell like Peeps. They have a body spray that actually does exist. It's at 5 and below or 5 below, whatever that's called.
Oh, of course. It's a child store.
Yes. Well, they are targeting children or kids because it comes in pink and yellow, marshmallow scented.
They smell like Peeps already.
I know, they're children. So they also make a Peep scented body wash. And just for a fun little fact, the national...
Peeps are different flavors.
I know. So
or
yeah.
they're just different colors. I don't know.
Well, they have pink and yellow, so they're different colors, and they smell like different things. One's strawberry cream, one is marshmallow scented. So there's that.
Oh.
And the National Confectioners Association threw in this little tidbit that we have an obsession with candy because people spent about $48 billion last year on candy. So...
Wow. Well, we do.
That. Now you can smell like it and eat it, but, you know.
Gosh, no.
But what we should do is place some bets.
Yes.
Place your bets. Here. I bet you slice into the woods $100.
Gambling is illegal at Bushwood, sir, and I never slide.
Okay, you can owe me. I owe you this.
If BC had won last night and went overtime,
Yeah.
it would have been plus 1030.
Oh, man.
I had won the first two legs of the 3-team ACC tournament parlay.
Man.
But Dominic Soboslai did score anytime goal plus 340, so we were plus for the day. Let's go.
Nice.
You're
well,
up.
I'm not going to dive too deep into it because I did make my MMA video, so that will be on our 99.9 The Fan YouTube
Good
page.
plug.
But, yeah, I just have to edit it. So, Josie Ann Nunez, UFC Vegas 88 is this weekend. Josie Ann Nunez versus Chelsea Chandler. I think Nunez is going to win this one, and by knockout because that's what she does, plus 210.
All right, I'll give you both basketball games here since time is short. I would love to see Pitt win because I love both Capels, but Carolina's going to win. I got Carolina covering the 7.5, and we'll go over the 147.5. And I think State wins outright tonight. So just give me State on the money line with a little extra juice.
Nice.
Under 121.5 at plus 305.
Nice.
Yes.
Well, and my last but not least main event, Tai Tuivasa versus Marcin Tybura. Tai, I want to see you drink beer out of a chute. Not really, but yes, I do. So him to win by knockout plus 105.
FA Cup tomorrow. Leicester beats Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. Plus 600. We'll see you.
Raleigh to Boone, Charlotte to Chapel Hill. Your Carolina is covered. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
North Carolina, your wait is over. FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, is officially live here in the Old North State. And right now, new customers can get $250 in bonus bets guaranteed when you wager your first $5. Just go to FanDuel.com, promo code AdamGold to sign up. Then you can bet on everything from the money line, over-unders, which team will cut the nets down, all on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Take the court with $250 in bonus bets, win or lose, when you place your first $5 wager. Visit FanDuel.com, promo code AdamGold to get started. FanDuel is America's #1 sports book. You must be 21 or older and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $10 deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Academy Sports and Outdoors is the sporting goods store that's all about fun. And a new location is coming to Knightdale. With great brands at the best prices, you'll always find the gear you need to play the games you love and enjoy your favorite outdoor activities with your favorite people. Academy has it all in store and online. No matter how you have fun out there, your next adventure starts here. Your new Academy Sports and Outdoors store is coming soon to Nightdale. Until then, check out academy.com.
It's time for spring cleaning, and there's no one better to call than our friends at Zero Res. This month, get 3 rooms Zero Resified, starting at $99. And if you get your air ducts cleaned, they'll clean your dryer vent for free. Visit ZeroResNC.com and book your appointment today.
Now is the time to switch to Spectrum. Get Spectrum Internet delivering fast and reliable speeds for just $49.99 a month, plus free advanced Wi-Fi for enhanced security and a free Spectrum Mobile Unlimited line with nationwide 5G. Ask how you can get a Visa Rewards card up to $500 when you add more mobile lines, internet, advanced Wi-Fi, and mobile. Get it all with Spectrum One. Go to Spectrum.com for full details. Offer subject to change. Valid for qualified residential customers only. Restrictions apply.
Hey everybody, Tim Donnelly here, and I want you to look down at your wrist right now. If you don't see an absolutely awesome watch that you can be proud of and want to show off, you want to listen to me about what I'm about to tell you when it comes to Fox & Bailey Watch Shop located inside Bailey's Fine Jewelry at their Village District location. You can get yourself an Omega, a brand new Omega from their Omega Boutique, which is the second largest of its kind in the entire country. That means Speedmasters, the model of Omega that is worn on the moon by multiple different astronauts. They call it the Moonwatch. Or something like a Seamaster. You may have seen it on a very particular spy movie that everyone is very familiar with. They also have pre-owned Rolexes over in their watch shop. They have all of these different brands. I have a G-Shock on my wrist as we speak right now. You can get one there. It's all at Fox & Bailey, located inside the Bailey's Fine Jewelry Village District location. You should have something you're proud of on your wrist.
Febreze.
Fabric Talk.
Hey, it's me, your couch. Today's my favorite day of the week, Febreze Fabric Spray Day. The occasional deep cleans are nice, but in between, you know I'm needing a refresh. Ooh, here she comes with the Febreze Fabric Spray. Oh yeah, spritz them armrests. Don't be shy. Nothing like a good spray down to get me smelling so fresh and clean. Don't forget my back. Nice. Febreze Fabric Spray. It's just that easy. Now we can both breathe happy. Febreze. La 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 la.
This hour on the Triangle Sports Leader is brought to you by the Ritchie Law Firm Injury Lawyers.
You can feel the madness.
Go to GotBrian.com. That's GotBrian.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on radio, web, app, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
What I can tell you from watching a decent amount of Mountain West and tracking it through the season is that they've got a super strong top 6. A lot of them have been on the mothership CBS Sports Network, right? So you do have to stay up a little bit late, but that's okay because just like when you get the trumpets, you know, for the Mountain West games, you know, the...
Oh, I love that. I missed that.
Yeah, it means you also get a little bit of... When you watch the Mountain West on CBS Sports Network.
Chip's got his own soundboard.
So
do that again.
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Do that again.
You want me to pull on this little ripcord right here? This ripcord, they can go like that.
That's so good. That so caught me by surprise on Wednesday.
I love it.
100% caught me by surprise.
Who doesn't have their own soundboard?
I mean, you have my soundboard. I do not have the ability to do that.
Yes.
All I could do is
telepath. Yeah. Or we just sometimes I just know. I just know where you want to go with things.
Thankfully. Because, like, you have no idea how hard that is because sometimes I don't know where I want to go with things.
It's a skill set.
It is. It's very difficult. Degree of difficulty. Like Andrei Svechnikov's empty net goal last night, which was a backhand bank shot from the defensive zone all the way in.
It's impressive.
It was ridiculous. So funny. Nobody is more of an empty net goal vulture than Andrei.
I know.
3 of his last 4 goals have been without a goalie involved.
Exactly.
Not there.
Yeah.
They all count, and that was a good one, so we're happy to add that to the total. This is the Adam Gold Show. That's Victoria. I'm Adam. Roundtable coming up in about 15 minutes, and it is Vashti Hurt from CarolinaBlitz.com and Brendan Whitted. another one of our NBA basketball gurus. We'll talk ACC tournament, college hoops, and Carolina Panthers as well, because there's a lot going on.
Yes.
Right now, though, time for the Wall of Sound.
The Wall of Sound is a function of this studio. There's no doubt about it.
We are going to talk basketball, but why don't we do this first? Since last night at PNC Arena, the Hurricanes beat the Florida Panthers by a 4-0 score. And after the first 15 minutes, it was truly a game that the Hurricanes controlled. Dominated isn't the right word, except I guess there's a fair amount of dominance there. The line of Kuznetsov, Natchez, and Gensel was spectacular last night. Specifically, Kuznetsov and Gensel were next level good. Natchez kind of struggled early and then figured it out the last 30 minutes of the game. He was much better. He looked a lot like the Martin Natchez that we had been enjoying for the last couple of months. But man, for the first, even through the goal, he was a little bit. I
know. It just took me coming in to talk to you, and we talked about it, and then he immediately scored.
He scored at the end of a bad shift where he actually gave the puck away twice in the same shift. He gave the puck away in the offensive zone and then the defensive zone. None of it was good, or defensive zone and then the offensive zone. Regardless, at the end of the shift, a blistering wrist shot beat Bobrovsky low to the far side. Great shot. So they got a goal, but he wasn't very good in the period until maybe about the midway part. And then Natchez started to play better. But that line was great. And Rod Brindamore basically said after the game that, well, it should be.
Yeah, they were the difference tonight, I thought. Really good shifts most of the night. So, yeah, they've seemed to, you put three good players together, it should be a good line, and they know how to play. And, like I said, I'm sure things will change a little bit. We'll try other things, but right now that's obviously been working.
Yeah, he's not going to break up that line right now. Jake Gensel will eventually play with Sebastian Aho. During the game, on that Natchez goal, Kuznetsov was credited with the second assist, which was his first point with the Hurricanes. Well, after the game, in the middle of the night, they took away that assist and gave it to Jake Gensel. Kuznetsov scored a goal about 6 minutes after Natchez scored. Kuznetsov goal, his goal made it 3-0. So he still has a Carolina Hurricanes point. It's a goal. And Jake Gensel doesn't get the benefit of the announcement of his first Hurricanes point because they only figured out that it was Gensel who should have gotten the secondary assist at about 1 a.m.
Yeah.
Well, if they can't figure these out during the game, what good are they?
Yeah.
What good are they?
We'll cheer for him even louder next time.
But good. That line was very, very good last night, even though it took Natchez a while to become very, very good. Speaking of very, very good, NC State they have now won 3 in a row, and they will play, which is a winning streak according to Lou Brown, and they will play Virginia tonight in the ACC semifinals. Kevin Keats, what's working?
We played all the ranked teams and everything else. So when we looked at our schedule, we knew that our back end was really tough. Obviously, I don't know if any program in the history of basketball has played Carolina Duke on a Saturday and turn around and play them on Monday. Thanks to the ACC, I got no problem with that now. That being said, we just had to refocus and understand that everything that we had done before that, we're a good basketball team. We just had some challenges going down the stretch, and during that time, a lot of things going on. And we just, we said when we got to the tournament, we can play and we can beat anybody in this league. The unfortunate thing about it is that everybody else can do the same thing. So I think we're locked in.
They are locked in, and they had a little bit of a home court edge. Is that true, DJ Burns?
What was it like hearing so many fans from different schools wanting to see y'all win and pull this off?
We know what it's about. They ain't really cheering for us, so we move on. Thank you, though.
Yeah. They're not. And they wanted to see Duke lose. And that is true. Like I'm sure there were still some people here there to see State win. And look, they've won 3 in a row, man. You're going to make more fans that way. All right, let's get real quick to the Duke side of things. John Shire. All right, this tournament's over. You didn't end the regular season well. You lost on your home floor to Carolina. So you've lost 2 in a row now. How do you get ready for the next tournament?
You have to take responsibility for what we didn't do tonight because, I've told these guys, like after the game Saturday, I mentioned my belief, but also it's what you can control. And I don't feel we handled what we could control tonight. No doubt in my mind. And so if we want that feeling a week from now where you lose or you exit the tournament where you didn't control what you can control, that would be a real shame. And I'm not going down that way. I know these guys aren't going down that way. And so for us, it's back to work. You're not going to be prepared if you don't work. But it starts with the belief and the responsibility for me.
Look, I'm not around the team on a day-to-day basis, so I don't know if they're not working. I'm sure they are working. But during the game, it doesn't look like they are meeting the level of intensity right now of the team they're playing against. It's the second game in a row where it looked like the other team was just a little bit more interested than them. I'm not saying they're not playing hard, but they were second best to Carolina from the start. And at the beginning of the first half and the beginning of the second half, just look at the runs that NC State went on. Right out of the gate. They led by 7 in the first half, and they took a 3-point lead and made it 9 almost immediately in the second half. Like, not to quote Bill Peters, former Carolina Hurricanes head coach, you got to start on time. And Duke hasn't started on time. All right, real quick. Harrison Ingram. Carolina obviously has it going on. They absolutely destroyed Florida State yesterday. How do you avoid complacency?
I feel like whenever, people are doubted, like we are, and all of us were in different ways, and as a team, and as a coach, everyone. The coaching staff, players, we're all doubted coming into the season. I feel like there's nothing you can do to take the chip off our shoulder. Now we're ready to go, or we're coming.
They're playing great. I love that they play with so much attitude. He calls it playing with a chip on their shoulder.
I think so. I feel like people think they can come in here and because we're smaller, height-wise, and we play small ball, we play fast. People think they can come in here and we're just like pretty boy North Carolina, but that's not us. We're all some dogs. We all got chips on our shoulder. We're all ready to win. Pretty
boy North Carolina. Well,
he said it, not us.
Yeah. But this is really what I've been saying since not the beginning of the season, but since it became apparent as to what North Carolina is. And it's a team, and part of the appeal for me is that this is a team that is really unlike any other that came before it, in that this is a defense-first team. North Carolina's best teams in the past have been offensive first, and everything comes off of that. Their defense comes from their offense in that they score so well that they apply automatically. There is pressure to keep up, and that matters. But this team, their offense is good, and it can be great at times, but they don't need it to win. They're that good defensively, and it is awesome to watch. They have some personnel issues, I guess, but I think they have enough depth. Jalen Washington can play 12 minutes or he can play 2 minutes, right? You've got Withers, same thing. Seth Trimble, he'll play a little bit more, but they don't have to have, big minutes or big numbers off their bench. They just need to know that those guys are available. Frankly, Seth Trimble has been amazing for me this whole year. All right, we'll take a break. The roundtable when we come back. 2 of our favorites, Vashti Hurt and Brendan Whitted, who is our returning champion. We will explain why next.
Going beyond the box scores. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, Hey, I'm Tim Donnelly from 99.9 The Fan.
And I'm Brian Murphy from WRAL News. Sports betting is finally legal in North Carolina. Getting to this point in this state wasn't easy.
How it happened is a backstory worth telling, and that's what we're going to do in a new season of our podcast, A Brief History of Triangle Sports. The podcast is out now.
Follow A Brief History of Triangle Sports on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts, or on YouTube.
There's still time and there's still plenty of opportunities to make sports watching a little more exciting. Hey, it's Victoria Vodenecker here for BetMGM, and we have a huge college basketball tournament going on right now. Plenty of NHL games, and for me, I'm excited to place some wagers on UFC this weekend. Whether you pick sports you enjoy watching or you're just maybe good at predicting, BetMGM has some fun new account promotions going on to help you with those odds. You can turn $5 into $150 in bonus bets instantly when you place your first wager. Simply download the BetMGM app and sign up using code Victoria. Then place a $5 wager on any of your favorite sports and you'll receive $150 in bonus bets instantly, regardless of how your wager turns out. Just use code Victoria. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only, North Carolina only. New customer offer subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards are non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
What? New scratch-offs are out? That means new chances to become a North Carolina Education Lottery Winners Club member.
Yeah, in the Winners Club, I'll reinvent myself. I won't go by just plain Todd. I'll go by Toddrick. I'll get a gold jacket, play my saxophone again. I'll stop and smell the flowers, call my mom more.
Oh, wrap it up, Todd.
It's Toddrick.
This month's tickets pack $370 million in total prizes. The Winners Club awaits. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 1 in 2.93 to 4.24. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
It's bow time.
Finally, lunchtime. I'm starving.
What's that?
This is the Bojangler from Bojangles.
Ooh, with the same bold flavor as their chicken?
The same.
And fries.
The same.
Huh. Well, I've got a PB&J.
Yeah, that's not the same.
A crispy fish fillet dusted in Bo's famous seasoning. With cheese and tartar sauce on a fluffy bun, the Bojangler's back. Hook one while you can. It's bow time.
There's no time like Bojangler time. Time to stop whatever you're doing and head over to Bojangles to try the Bojangler Fish Fillet Sandwich. You heard right, the Bojangler Fish Fillet Sandwich. A perfectly seasoned, light, flaky, wild-caught Alaskan pollock fish fillet sandwich. For limited time at participating Bojangles. Make it a combo and add Bojangles seasoned fries and legendary iced tea. Hungry for Bojangles but in the mood for something different? Then it's Bojangler time.
Injured in a motorcycle accident? Call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS before you call your insurance company. The insurance company wants to pay you the least amount possible. Law Tigers are riders too, so we understand what your bike and gear are worth and what you're going through after an accident. Your case evaluation is always free, and we don't get paid until your case settles. Call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, North Carolina's motorcycle lawyers. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
Planning for spring at Lowe's means big savings on outdoor power equipment, and Lowe's knows nothing feels better than free. Buy one select Ego string trimmer, leaf blower, or mower kit. Get one select 56-volt battery free. That's up to a $299 value. Power through spring with Ego, the #1 rated brand in cordless outdoor power. Because Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid through 4/3 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
This is Adam Gold.
There are two groups of people who do not really know how college sports works. One are fans. It's not your job. And the other, people who get paid to represent citizens of the United States on Capitol Hill.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria producing the program. Dan Wolken from USA Today on the expansion of the NCAA tournament and the announcement of a college football playoff breakdown format heist by the SEC and Big Ten. Coming up bottom of the hour-ish. But right now, my favorite time of the week with two of my favorite people. Let's roll.
Camelot. It's only a model.
When that's the round table, we
the brains, the talent behind CarolinaBlitz.com, the one and only Vashti Hurt joins us. She is in D.C., also in D.C., but my guess is not in the same place. Our returning champion, Brendan Whitted. He is at HU Cosell, and by the way, he is our returning champion because last week he is the only one of us that thought North Carolina would beat Duke. So congratulations. That's why you are the defending champ. And yes, as our communication earlier this week, we should have a belt for the returning champion. So right now it'd be a golf belt, but that's another story altogether. So let's start here. Let me start with Vashti, who is joining us also from D.C. North Carolina will be in the Final Four, yes or no? I started off with a tough one.
Adam, I mean,
I'm glad you started with Ty.
I mean, you didn't even warm me up first. Just straight to it. It really depends on their region, but if you're holding me to the fire, I'm going to say yes. I like the way they've been playing. More importantly, I like the drive that they have. After yesterday's win, Elliot Cadeau told me in the locker room, we haven't won anything. Like, a lot of us weren't on that Final Four. You know, Armando Bacot they said they haven't won an ACC tournament. So winning matters to them, which is quite a juxtaposition to what I heard in the Duke locker room yesterday. But they seem to have a drive and they have a chemistry. The Tar Heels are having fun. They shoot the ball well. They have that post presence. And more importantly, they are dogs on the court. And that's what you need in March. I think they have the perfect mix of what you need to go far in the tournament. Usually when that happens, you know, there's always a hiccup. But since you're making me say it now, I'll say, yeah, I like them. I like them as a Final Four team.
All right, yeah, we're not messing around here today, Vashti. We're going right for it. We have three teams to deal with varying levels of expectations. Brendan, would you agree that North Carolina is going to go to the Final Four?
Yeah, if I was going to put bread on it, I'd put them in there, and mostly for the reasons Ty illuminated, right? Like I think that her talking about what they were talking about in the locker room is the most illuminating thing for me because I'm watching them from 30,000 feet, and that stuff that she's talking about, it shows up on the court. You know what I mean? Like you talk about Harrison Ingram, you talk about Cadeau. Like Cadeau is a guy I've really had to come around on. Like when the first part of this season, they were playing him like as the primary point guard, and like he was really handling the ball a lot. And what they've done is kind of move him off. One, because he's a fantastic cutter. Yeah. Like that dude is an athlete with a capital AF. Like for real. Like that movie makes with the up and under going damn near full speed. That's that sort of body control. That is a great athlete, and you see it on the defensive end. And so it's good to like for me to see the growth in some of these players and with the coaching and how they handle some of these guys. Like those are important things that while you may have the talent even to begin with, you don't know where you need to be. And now, although he's not a great shooter, his speed and his ability to change, accelerate, decelerate is something you don't always see from young players. And his ability to finish at his size, like those are the sorts of things that I look at in terms of everybody seems to know their role and are more than eager to fill it.
Here's the thing about Elliot Cadeau that is so impressive to me. Everybody knows not only is he not a good shooter, he doesn't really want to shoot. And yet he can still get to the rim, which means either y'all are dumb or he's good enough to get where he wants to go anyway. And I don't think these people are dumb. I think he's good enough to get where he wants to go. He's also
the other part is this too.
Okay, good.
Well, no, I'm saying like if you give him the runway, because what the response can be, oh well, why don't you just sag off of him? But if you give a great athlete that sort of a runway, you're kind of giving him a fast break and a half court opportunity, and that can get bad for you really quickly, and he'll get to the cup. So it's even as a bad shooter, there is still some gravity that he generates just off the strength of his game.
Yeah, you don't really play off of him. You guard him close, but you guard him to drive, and not to shoot. So I mean, look, he's been. I thought, even though maybe the box score didn't say it, I thought he was a key component of the first win for Carolina over Duke in Chapel Hill, and he was a big part of what we saw, even though Cormac Ryan had an out-of-body experience. And I want to get to that, and I'll throw it back to you, Vashti. 2 years ago, Brady Manick was a revelation at the end of the year. And that run was very much Manick-infused. The way he played defensively against Paolo Banchero in the game that ended Coach K's home career. Not a great night for the folks. Brendan is enjoying this. Not a great night for the folks at Cameron. But the way he defended Paolo Banchero was game-changing, and he also provided an attitude. Cormac Ryan, well, he's a very good defender. There's no doubt about that. I think people probably underrate him for that. But his attitude, as well as Harrison Ingram, has really shaped, I think, this team. You played. You know what that attitude is like, right?
Oh, absolutely. And I wouldn't say that Ryan is the Brady Manick. Honestly, that team, that Brady Manick led team was crazy because they had so many ups and downs that year.
Right.
And that season, Brady Manick was the only one that was really holding people accountable. This year, everybody's a dog on that team. But if we're talking about maybe somebody who we didn't expect to be the guy, to me, it's a Harrison Ingram more than a Cormac Ryan, just because Harrison Ingram makes them go. And that's kind of what Brady Manick did that year. He was the beat, the baseline. He was the baseline on that team. A good baseline makes the song, and that's kind of what Harrison Ingram is to UNC. He's the baseline, and no question that RJ Davis is the melody. He's how that he's what you pick up on. But Ingram is a baseline, and he's been playing great even when he doesn't score a lot of points. He gets rebounds. He's diving on the floor. He sets a tone, and that's the reason why they've been playing so well.
Who's the rhyme, Brendan?
Oh, wow.
I just want to finish it. I want to finish the track.
Baycott doesn't give me rhyme. Nothing about Baycott gives me rhyme. Like, that's the next guy you have to mention, but it's like, nah. I appreciate the alley. I really do. I really do appreciate the alley. It's just, oops.
Very, very nice. This is way. Look, I had high expectations for this segment to begin with, but it is exceeding my expectations already. We haven't even gotten to Duke. So something that Brendan, you were talking about, I think Vashti, you mentioned it too, leads me to this: trophies matter, right? Winning something matters. So Carolina won the regular season, which we can play around with all day long about what it means. They won it by 2 games, so it matters. They played Duke twice, right? We don't have enough games to play a true round robin. So we probably play too many conference games anyway. But the first trophy is this one. So it should matter. And in other sports, we have LeBron James wanted to win the NBA in-season tournament. He wanted to win it. Maybe because he wanted to win the first one. Maybe he knew the Lakers wouldn't win the next one, the really big one. So you got to win something. So this could be a pelt on the wall for UNC. Did Duke, as a group, and I'll start with you, Brendan, do you think Duke took this one seriously?
I don't know how you don't take an ACC tournament.
They won it last year, right?
Yeah, but it's not like that team's full of a whole bunch of NCAA tournament champions. You know what I mean? Like you really, that's really been that was their first trophy, right?
Last year.
And nobody wants to lose to State, right? That's the other thing. Let's keep it a stat, bro. Like you lost to State, who has been like pretty mediocre to bad at several points. Like that's right up the street. Nobody wants that. And so like I can't see them being disinterested. I thought they played really poor. Like Phil Bukowski was fantastic. He's been their guy, 28-14. McCain and Roach though combined 3 of 12, 13 points, 4 turnovers. Like that's rough. You needed more from the backcourt like that. They don't get much from their bench. Like your starters have to shine. And they just, both of them kind of laid a monumental egg when they really needed them to be better. I thought it was funny because I saw the clips afterwards, like Roach, like, yeah, we're going to have a players only meeting. Hold on, fam. You're going to announce publicly that you're going to have a players only meeting before you do it? See, that's already a problem right there. Like, that's not the whole point of players only meeting, is for it to be the inside group. Right. And you over here giving, tossing it up on the timeline. Like, there's already a disconnect. And that's generally what I feel now. Like I mentioned, Filipkowski was great, but you didn't get anything from the backcourt. Like, them all being on one accord, it feels like it's been a while since we've seen a solid, great stint of Duke basketball.
Yeah, nobody wants to lose to State. That was Brendan Witter. We have to save that. Vashti, you've been at so many of these games. It's really uncharacteristic of Jeremy Roach to play badly in back-to-back big games. He was really good in the game at Carolina earlier this year. He and McCain were really the two best players for the Blue Devils in that game. Roach was uncharacteristically poor in the game against Carolina at Cameron, and he was, I know he had 5 points last night, a non-factor.
Yeah, 5 points.
A non-factor in the game. What do you sense from him right now?
Duke will go as far as Roach takes him. I have been talking about this, and I really thought, Jeremy Roach is from D.C. It's something about coming home to hoop, right? We're hearing that the guy from Pitt, and his name escapes me, but he's from the area. He's hooping. When you come home to hoop, this is when you put on a show. I sat right behind the Duke bench, right in front of the Duke family. Jeremy had a bunch of family there. And for him to go 1 for 6 from the floor, 1 for 4 from 3, 3 turnovers, 4 assists, inexcusable. And for him to have that on the heels of what he had, how he played at UNC, when after the game, he told me this was on me. He took complete blame for that loss. I don't know. I mean, he's the one who's going to have to get it together. Filipkowski did what he needed to do. Even Mark Mitchell, who had a bad showing against Duke at Cameron, had 18 points. So it's going to be Jeremy Roach. Jeremy Roach needs to have a players-only meeting with himself because he's going to be the one who's going to make this team go. When they went to the Final Four, he was the one who played very well, and that's why they were able to have that streak. And he mentioned in the locker room yesterday, he said, well, this is like that Final Four team. We lost to Carolina. We lost in the ACC tournament. So I was surprised. Like, they surprisingly were like, well, and he literally said, we didn't come here to win the ACC tournament. And I'm thinking, bruh, even if you feel that way, this is not what you say because you really want to win every game. But the point was they have bigger aspirations. They're not going to come to fruition unless he is the one to lead this team. He's a senior. He's a veteran. He's the one who's been there before. And he's the one who's playing, like mid, and he's going to have to step it up. And he needs to have the meeting with himself. If he doesn't get it together, Duke will have a second round exit like they did last year when they ran into Tennessee.
No question. They ran into grown men.
They should have stayed home then. He should have stayed home then.
Like,
if you don't want to win, stay home. Just kick it. You at the crib anyway. Just go hang out with your family. Why'd you even play, bro?
Vashti was able to give a coherent opinion without disparaging NC State. I think that's very cool. Brendan couldn't quite.
I like NC State, Adam. I really like that team.
I do too.
I don't know why Brendan just hated on NC State, but DJ Burns is one of my favorite players in the ACC. He's likable.
Yep.
He's bringing back post play. DJ Horn is a good guard. It's just, everybody knows NC State is going to NC State, and that hasn't happened yet. So the fact that, they're still kind of rolling, they're a team with nothing to lose. And that's the most dangerous. Like, in any room, the person with nothing to lose in a fight, they're the most dangerous. I like NC State. They're playing with a lot of edge, a lot of who knows? Who knows?
I think we'll see red and blue on Saturday night. And I look forward to that, a little North Carolina takeover. All right, so, we all know that NC State's going to have to win that game Saturday night to get into the NCAA tournament. I'll close on the same question I asked about Carolina, about Duke. Vashti, the Blue Devils will be in the second weekend of the NCAA tournament? Yes or no?
Yes, because I think Jeremy will have a come to Jesus moment with himself.
His solo player meeting.
A meeting of one. He's going to have to go to the upper room and figure it out, but I think he will.
Brendan, same question. Duke will be playing in the second weekend.
I'm really trying hard for my hate not to come out. But
yeah, good luck with
that. I can't tell if it's analysis or if it's hate. I really can't.
This is hard.
We know this is hard. It is. I'm having to come to Jesus moment myself right now. Nah, I don't think so. I really don't. Like, I for real, I just don't feel it. Like, maybe I'm just being prisoner of the moment because I know that this is a talented squad. That this is a talented team. At least their starters are. But I think that they're an above average team. I just don't think they're an above average Duke team. And maybe I'm judging them based off of what the lineage has been and not themselves, and which is unfair, and it's against whomever you're playing. But I just don't feel anything special from this team at all.
All fair comments, by the way, and you mentioned without taking another shot at State.
I was very close. I was super
totally
close,
understand.
my guy.
I thought you were going to go back to it.
No, but you did. Like, I was like, they were like, they're playing with nothing to lose. I thought about that. I'm like, Keats ain't coaching like you got nothing to lose. Like, I'm pulling for you. I am pulling for Keats on the real. I am, because I don't know how much longer this whole not making the tournament thing is going to rock in Raleigh. So.
Well, that is true. Two out of 7 years is not good. Even though we had a pandemic, kill 1 year, and they probably should have gotten a bid one of those other years. At HU Cosell on Twitter for Brendan Whitted. Appreciate your time, my man, and we'll always talk to you. And Bash Die Hurt, we will talk to you again. We didn't even get to Panther stuff. We'll do that next time, I promise. I thank you very much for your time in D.C. Enjoy it. CarolinaBlitz.com for all your coverage. You could do great stuff behind the scenes. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, fellas, ladies, all of that. We'll come back. Dan Wolken of USA Today on what I believe is almost a hostile takeover of college sports. Next.
Going beyond the box scores. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
ACT Construction Equipment is proud to be your certified local Takeuchi dealer in Charlotte, Winston-Salem, Asheville, Wilmington, and Myrtle Beach. Takeuchi has long been a world leader in the compact construction industry. Let ACT Construction Equipment help you find the right machine for the job. Our full line of excavators, track loaders, and attachments are designed for low maintenance and high productivity. Stop in today for a demo or visit us online at actce.com. ACT Construction Equipment, your authorized Takeuchi dealer.
During this sports season, the Governor's Highway Safety Program would like to remind you to buckle your seatbelt when traveling to and from athletic events. Whether you are driving out of or across town, wearing a seatbelt is your best defense against injury or death in a crash. Start the season off right. Prioritize your safety and buckle up. Every seat, every time. Remember, click it or ticket. It's the law. This message is brought to you by the North Carolina High School Athletic Association and the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
Healthcare.gov is here for you when life happens. If you lost your health coverage because of turning 26, going off Medicaid, leaving your job, or moving, you could be eligible to enroll in new coverage now. And if you need to update your coverage because of marriage or having a baby, you could also be eligible. But don't wait. There's a limited time to enroll. Check your eligibility at healthcare.gov today. Life happens. Get covered. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. Need money for college? Well, if you're a North Carolinian from a household making $80,000 or less, the Next NC Scholarship could pay for more than half, if not all of your tuition and fees at any NC community college or public university. And it doesn't have to be repaid. We're talking at least $3,000 for community college or $5,000 for a public university and possibly more. Get all the details about the new Next NC Scholarship and see how simple it is to apply at nextncscholarship.org.
Everyone goes through tough times, and everyone can get through them, as long as they don't have to do it alone. Dial 988 if you need someone to talk to. Get what you need to get to a better place. Together, we'll find the care that works best for you. We're here 24/7. Call, text, or chat 988. 988. Let's get through it together. Brought to you by the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services.
Hi, Darcy the cow here for Black Cow, the mature manure. It's time to start getting your flower and vegetable gardens off to a great start with Black Cow. Prepare new plant beds with a 1.5-inch layer of Black Cow in the area and then mix it in with the soil 6 inches deep. Black Cow is organic. Pick up the bright yellow bag and get growing.
Black Cow, the mature manure. Black Cow.
Agriculture drives our local economy. I'm Lee Ivey, Director of the Agricultural Institute at NC State University, and we are looking for our next generation of leaders. If you want to make a difference and help feed the world, join us at the Ag Institute, where we grow successful graduates, productive futures, and rewarding lifestyles. We offer 2-year degrees and hundreds of internships. Learn more online by searching NC State Ag Institute. Deadline for fall enrollment is June 1st. 2 years, 1 degree, endless possibilities.
If you pay your city or town for electricity, you live in a public power community. Public power communities provide electricity to families and businesses from a locally owned and operated system. Public power systems are not-for-profit and provide electricity at affordable rates with unbeaten reliability. Your local public power provider invests in your community, providing local jobs and supporting your local economy. Electricities of North Carolina is the energy behind public power. Learn more at electricities.com.
This is Adam Gold.
Listen, the ACC is not as bad as everyone out there, Joe Lenardi and all the proctologists.
Wow. Whoa.
It's
Wait a second. Victoria, did you hear that? It's a proctologist.
The Adam Gold Show.
Dan Wolken of USA Today is joining us here now on the Adam Gold Show. I don't like to get angry on a Friday. I reserve Fridays for fun and goofing around on this radio program. There's so much seriousness that we can talk about on a day-to-day basis. But I saw this Greg Sankey quote. I think it was because of your Twitter, sir. And it just made me mad about just one little line, I guess, maybe 2 sentences that is loaded with all sorts of, exactly what's wrong, I think, with college, really college sports, but specific to the NCAA tournament. I want to read the quote, and then I'll get your thoughts on this. We're giving away highly competitive opportunities for automatic qualifiers from smaller leagues, which is in brackets, so I guess he didn't exactly say that. And I think that pressure is going to rise as we have more competitive basketball leagues at the top end because of expansion. There's a lot of things just in that sentence alone. So thank you for joining us on a Friday. And your thoughts on what Greg Sankey had to say.
Well, I've really been warning about this for a couple years because the rhetoric has been there, maybe not quite this direct, but it's been building to this. And, a couple years ago when the Transformation Committee was doing its thing, a lot of people probably don't even remember it because it was completely ineffective and I don't think really made much of an impact. But Sankey was on the Transformation Committee, and one of the things you heard talked about was number of automatic bids being reduced potentially for some championships. That was on the table. And a couple years ago at the College Football Playoff Championship game, Sankey did a little scrum with a bunch of reporters, and he brought up how Ole Miss won the national championship in baseball as the last team in the field.
Right.
And he was making that point to say, listen, you have these bubble teams, even in a 64-team tournament, from the SEC, because, we're so competitive, we're so mighty, we're so good. Maybe our 8th place team or 9th place team, if they were the last team selected over some, unwashed mid-major, they could go and make a run. And he sort of has been on that as a pretext to eliminate the little guy in some way. And look, I think you can make an argument Division I's too big. 360-something teams, most of them, frankly, zero chance of being competitive in anything ever in basketball. I certainly think if you wanted to put in different standards for Division I and membership, that's something that I could listen to your argument about why that's necessary. It probably is too many teams. They probably have made it too easy to get into Division I. But when you talk about just eliminating automatic qualifiers for the conferences that are part of your division, your sport, well, we know where that goes. We know where that leads. It leads to the little guy getting pushed out, and the SEC and the Big Ten and the power conferences getting what is left behind. So it's very transparent. I don't like it, and frankly, I think it would be bad ultimately for the SEC as well, because it would be bad for the tournament. And the tournament, if you mess with it too much, if you take away what people like about it, that will come back to the detriment of, I think, everybody involved.
Dan Wolken is joining us from USA Today. First of all, I'm just curious here. Greg Sankey, commissioner of the SEC, pushing for as many as 3 or 4 automatic qualifying spots in a 14-team college football playoff, seems to be against automatic qualifiers. Just want to make sure I've got that right. Here's the other thing about it. It seems that he is discussing this at the front of that comment as though it were charity, as though the NCAA tournament's first week isn't basically all about the little guy, that the charm of the tournament isn't what it is without that. And he's basically saying, well, we really don't need that because we need Mississippi State in, or we need, Minnesota in, because, he's not just talking about the SEC, even though we know that he is. And at the back end of that, I think his comment, I'm sure if he went back and read it, he'd go, well, that doesn't make sense, or maybe he wouldn't. When he says we have more competitive basketball leagues at the top end because of expansion. Well, you're not taking teams really from the middle. You're taking teams from each other, or you're taking there's no Pac-12 anymore. We're probably two years away from there being no ACC, maybe no Big 12. So does he think that those leagues are just going to regenerate these teams like what is that mythical creature that when you cut off its head it grows 2 more? Does he think that's what's going to happen? They're all going to be in his league or the Big Ten.
What I think they're afraid of is the notion that, all right, they're already at 14 teams. You add Texas and Oklahoma, you're even bigger, and you have made your league more difficult, more competitive, because those are 2 quality programs. And you already sort of see in these conference standings in college basketball, whether it's the Big Ten or the SEC, you see a glut in the middle. You see a lot of 8-8, a lot of 9-9, a lot of 8-10. Even some teams 7-11 who are pretty good teams or decent teams. And I think they look at that and say that it's only going to get worse as we add more quality teams. So we're going to have more teams that might be pretty good but have mediocre records, and they're not going to get in. And so ultimately, we're not going to gain very much in terms of real estate in that field, even though we have added and kept adding quality programs. So I understand that's the thinking, but I would also say nobody forced the SEC to get this big. Nobody forced the Big Ten to put a knife in the Pac-12. You chose to expand in this manner. You chose to break college sports, to break the conference structures as we knew them. And the fix for that, the answer for that you want, is to then just go break a bunch more stuff in the name of trying to fix it. And that's, I think, where people sort of look at this and say, all right, Greg, yeah, I understand where you're coming from here, but you're the reason this happened. You're the reason, you didn't have to go at Texas and Oklahoma. You chose to, so deal with the consequences.
Yeah, I mean, it's there. Paul Hewitt once said about like the 1-year player or some stuff like that, that there are unintended consequences for, the actions that college sports takes. This is one of those unintended consequences. But the truth of the matter is that those teams who deserve to get in the tournament, regardless of your conference record, since routinely teams get in with sub 500 conference records, play good teams outside of your league, win those games, and your conference record doesn't quite matter as much. So, I mean, the Big 12, which has 14 teams or whatever they have now, I mean, they're going to get probably 9 teams in. That's more than half their teams. We've seen 11 teams go from the Big 10 or the Big East before. So the notion that they're going to get the short shrift because they have too many teams, there's no evidence to say that that's true. Just like there's no evidence to say that we're wasting automatic bids on the likes of, Ivy League champ Princeton last year, Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference champ St. Peter's 2 years ago, Oral Roberts from the Summit 3 years ago, Loyola from, I don't even know what the league is now, where Loyola of Chicago is, who got to a Final Four. I mean, it's fundamentally untrue, the stuff that he's saying. Final thing, and I don't want to belabor this point and keep you too long, especially since I'm trying to keep it light on a Friday. Isn't it bad enough that they gerrymandered the playoff, what they're doing? I mean, I thought they were so great. I thought the SEC was so great they were just going to get all the spots anyway. Why aren't they advocating for no automatic bids and just let the top 14 teams go so we can watch that whole league play itself?
Yeah, well, essentially what you're saying is all these people who run college sports make decisions and take positions based on what they feel is going to advantage them most at the time they say it. I mean, that's right. That's how this thing is run, and it's one of the big problems with why college sports can't get its act together. As I've said many, many times, the NFL, the NBA, the NHL, all of these professional leagues, right? They compete, and they all want to beat each other, but at the end of the day, they view what they do as a collaborative business in which one, the rising tide lifts all boats. Right. They want what's best for the business overall because, while one franchise may benefit one year, it'll eventually come around and somebody else will benefit later. That's not the way it works in college sports. They all view each other as competitors encroaching on each other's real estate. They don't look at it as an overall business and what's best for that business. They look at it as what's best for their slice of that business. And that's why it's just hard to get anything done. And it's why Greg Sankey, when he talks to Pete Thamel and says this stuff, we'll say, well, the college basketball tournament, look at UCLA a couple years ago, going from the first four to the Final Four. That just shows you that a power conference team who was on the bubble can go all the way. Yeah, well, guess what? Guess who else did the exact same thing as UCLA? It was VCU. Mm-hmm. VCU did the same thing. VCU was almost not in the tournament, and they get in and as the last team in, and then they go to the Final Four. That's what happens in a single elimination tournament. And sometimes it'll be the big UCLA power conference, and sometimes it'll be the small conference. That's the way the tournament's always been. But when you don't acknowledge that, you do, I think, show your hand as having a very specific agenda that is not really based in what's best for the overall sport.
Dan Wolken, we'll leave it there on a Friday. I appreciate your time, sir. We'll talk again soon. You follow him on Twitter at Dan Wolken from USA Today. Take care, man.
You got it. See you.
Dan Wolken, appreciate his time. Just made me angry. It's almost like they're trying to see how far they can go before they do destroy it. And it's not just the NCAA tournament. I think it's almost as though they are trying to destroy the whole industry, because it's not about college sports anymore. It's professional sports using your favorite school's logo, and it's fine. I mean, we're still going to watch. Nobody's saying that we are not going to be interested in what we're watching, but at some point we're going to have to stop calling it college sports, because it ain't college sports. That is the real tragedy. By the way, East Carolina made it to the quarterfinals of the American Athletic Conference tournament, and South Florida is obviously very good. And I'm not sure the game went final, but it looked like a 20-point gap between the Bulls and the Pirates. So, and we're watching Mississippi State right now in front of me in the quarterfinals. Absolutely throttle Tennessee.
Oh, yeah.
So I was talking with the producer of the Hurricanes radio broadcast with me last night, Chris Morris, who actually used to be in your chair.
I love Chris Morris.
Yeah, Chris used to be right over there. You walked right past Chris and didn't see him?
I know. He wasn't facing me.
Like maybe all of us were.
Well, hey, I was in there and you didn't remember me.
Total tunnel vision. So anyway, he mentioned like it's as though there's not a way to decide who should get that extra number 1 seed. If we only had a meeting. That's right. North Carolina beat Tennessee earlier this year. I would caution, your one game does not make a season. Certainly it is in Carolina's favor that they beat Tennessee. And I think ultimately they're going to get the number 1 seed because they're going to win this tournament. And when Carolina wins the ACC tournament, they'll get the number 1 overall seed, especially if Tennessee loses in the quarterfinals of the SEC tournament.
Well, it doesn't mean anything to Jeremy Roach. So
oh
it's okay.
Man, I thought that was the phrase I used was self-medication. I thought that was trying to take the burden off of him, them, for again, you can lose. Basketball is such. You can lose a basketball game. It doesn't take a lot. Sometimes you do everything right, the ball doesn't go in. It's like hockey. Sometimes you can do everything right, and you get a couple of unlucky bounces, and you lose.
I know. Well, how many games did the Canes have where they should have technically won?
Yep.
And didn't.
It is possible. But there isn't anybody that thought that Duke was on top of their game. And at this time of the year, I mean, you just don't have many more chances. And if you're Jeremy Roach, who, by the way, could come back for another year if he wanted to. I don't know that he will or won't. I'm not sure. But at some point, it's got to be in the back of your mind that this might be it. So now, and Kyle Filipowski said it after the game, this could be it. This could be our last game. The next one we play could be the last one. I hope State's got at least 2 more left in them. Should be fun this weekend in D.C. Canes have a big weekend in the province of Ontario. Victoria, thank you very much. I'm Adam. I'll see everybody Monday.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina